Hey there everybody, and welcome here to the Absa Gaming Festival featuring Fortnite. We're here, it is the finals, and I'm joined by the ever so delightful man himself. Skara, how are you feeling?
I am so excited for this one, Nick. We had so many weeks leading up to this final and so much action from the get-go, from qualifier 1 to qualifier 2, all the way through to qualifier 4. I cannot express how excited I am for today.
Yeah, qualifier after qualifier. Load shedding tried to sneak its way in there to cause some delays. They try to hold us back. We're here and we are ready for today's action. We've had some amazing moments over this series. I mean, the farmers, I know we've alluded to that a little bit earlier in terms of qualifier number 3. Qualifier number 4 as well was pretty damn stacked, but we're going to talk all about that. But what you need to know about today is that it's not only the players that are going to be competing for 20,000 Rand in cash, you also have a couple of prizes that you're going to be able to stand a chance to be able to win here today. So we can bring that up, we can have a little bit of a chat, but when it comes down to the prize of what you can expect, win an Xbox One Series S and more. We've got giveaway vouchers, of which we'll allude to in a couple of seconds, but if you want to be a part of that giveaway and you want to win yourself an Xbox, I mean, who doesn't want to win one? Type in !giveaway, get the details, get yourself entered, and stand a chance to be able to win, all just by enjoying some Fortnite. We do have a couple more giveaways that we're going to allude to into a second, but setting the tone for today, 20,000 Rand in cash prizes for our players, for our teams. Skara, take us through it.
All right, so we will be having a 20,000 Rand prize pool on the line for all of these players that have made it to this grand final. First place will be getting a whopping 10,000 Rand. Second place will be taking home a young 5,000 Rand. Third will be taking 2,000 Rand. Fourth place will be taking 1,000 Rand. And then fifth to eighth, we do like sharing, 500 Rand for each of those teams. So there is a lot to be playing for. That is not small or push around money. That is some big cash money that you are going to be playing for. So there's a lot riding on the line.
And one more thing that I do want to highlight is that we're going to be testing your memory, testing exactly how concentrated you are as a viewer. We're going to have a mystery question at the end of this competition where it's going to be 250 Rand in any kind of gaming voucher that you want. And we'll ask that mystery question. And if you've been paying attention, the first person to type that answer in chat will be able to get that giveaway. So we've got some great prizes. We've got some great moments to be able to see unfold. Remember, it is a best out of 5 today. And one of the things, I mean, alluding to this, we've got some fantastic teams, don't we, Skara?
Oh my goodness. When I look at the teams that we have, it is stacked. Like, especially when we look at how Qualifier 3 and Qualifier 4 were. They really were some top teams there. And now, coming into the grand final, they're all now in one bundle. There is no, yeah, this is qualifier 1, we can just play the next one, you know, just escape this team or that team. There's no running, there's no hiding. All of them are in one lobby. They all have to be around each other. So, oh, I'm so excited, Nick. I just want to know, who are your favorites when you look at the team?
Okay, so I mentioned the farmers a little bit earlier on. Maybe it's a little bit of an intrinsic bias because that was qualifier number 3. They farmed the lobby. They took them out. I mean, from that side of things, it's Yapi to RP and as well as Epics. They're actually, Pete Pomp is their team name. But when it comes down to the qualifiers themselves, we all know Q4 was super, super stacked. And I think in terms of that outline, Rejects and Travis is one of the teams that I'm looking forward to. But Bojo and Neymar coming out on top of that qualifier number 4, I'd probably say that they're the favorites going into this finals here today.
Yeah, and you're not wrong with that. I mean, Bojo and Neymar recently formed as a duo, but they've been really slaying it. They've been doing so well in the past competitions that they have been competing in. They're such a well-oiled team, and especially when you watch their gameplay and you see how they play together as a team, it really is phenomenal with how well they work together. And on their own as well, they're talented players. They're phenomenal at what they do, but as a team, they're just really a dominant force. But not to mention, we do have other teams as well that we can be possibly looking at, but we already in the lobby and we're making that drop.
There we go. The bus is getting ready to unload and we are about to jump into the action. As you mentioned, some stacked teams here today, and I can't wait to see exactly who is going to be able to develop the lead early on here and who's going to be those trailing behind, trying to chase them down and essentially pull them down. We've already got some landing spots of what some of the players talked about a little bit earlier, and I think Travis highlighted is that it's anybody wants to head over to Risky Reels, that they're going to find them, or rather Rocky Reels, they're going to find themselves in a very precarious situation.
Oh yeah, and I mean we already understand the caliber of Travis and Rejects as players. They're really, really phenomenal and talented, and I feel it's gonna be a rough day if you're really trying to contest them there over by Rocky Reels, because especially when you do accustom yourself to a landing spot, you really get used to the area. You understand where all the chests are. But Albert not looking good off drop, going to be dropped very, very early.
Whoa. That's going to be a very difficult situation. You find yourselves early on getting taken out, and that I don't think is necessarily going to be the trend here today. I don't expect a lot of kind of early kills because we are talking about this being the stacked lobby. It's the prize pool lobby. We've seen the previous qualifiers. A lot of people took it as almost a W key opportunity because they knew they had secondary qualifiers, tertiary qualifiers, but it looks like immediately we've got Chimp and Decav getting themselves into a little bit of a gunfight just outside of the Collider. And this is one of the landing spots that you talked about a little bit early on.
Yeah, this is the landing spot that they claim themselves. And this is a spot that I am pretty sure a lot of people are going to be trying to land at because it is a fantastic drop. And there's so much rotation that this place offers. You can see as now Barry just farms up that cooler box, and he got a flopper as well as chug splashes. There's just so much abundance of loot at this area. And for those of you who don't know, the Collider has the updraft that you can use as a rotation device. And it also has built-in launch pads all around. So it really is such an amazing job. And this is why it's contested so much.
Yeah, very heavily contested space, and we do have a couple of guards inside of that space too, so you'll hear some gunfire and some gunshots, but that's not necessarily coming from humans at that point in time. A couple of AIs inside the map protecting that Collider zone. Such a heavily contested spot at the moment. It does look like one of our players is running for his life or her life at this point in time and falls down on the net. We'll get down to safety. Hopefully, this is the lucky packet. What is going to be able to pop out for her to be able to utilize does look like we've actually got the med mist actually in hand as well. So very, very cool to be able to use that. One of the items that you can use on yourself and, of course, a teammate. But at this point, doesn't look like there's a teammate to use it on.
But at least I really love that med mist as well. The new addition, obviously coming in this new chapter. It's really been something that's very effective, especially if you're in zone and you're trying to maybe just run and heal. And that's also the mechanic I love, is you're able to run and heal with that med mist, and you can just constantly just hold it down and just get your health up. So it's such a good health addition that they added to the game, and seeing that the player was able to at least utilize it and not really take any further damage from anyone that was chasing him. So good on them. But now we switch over to Itake and Chubbs, and I do believe this is Itake and Smeg, if not mistaken.
There we go.
They are sitting on 0 kills, and again, this is going to be expected. This really is the trend that we're going to be seeing today, right?
100%. All about just trying to make sure you farm up, get as many mats as possible in the back pocket, because when it comes down to those final circles, which I still get so excited about just talking about, it's going to be so stacked with some of these teams, and it's something that I think we haven't seen for quite a while, is in terms of some of how we've got all these highly contested teams. Qualifier 4, you might have said, was the most stacked out of all the qualifiers, that last opportunity, but today, it's the prize money, right? This is where people are going to be leaning in closer to their screens. They're going to be either gripping on their controller or onto their mouse and keyboard a little bit tighter. And at the moment, we're just chilling outside of Command Cavern. Still a great place. You've got the Zeppelin, still a good place to be able to get some metal mats on that side of things. But maybe just doubling back. Once again, welcome to everybody that is just joining us. This is game number 1 of the Absa Gaming Festival featuring Fortnite. 20,000 Rand in cash up for grabs. That's all courtesy of Absa. Big shout out to them. A big shout out also to the partners of the event, Rage Expo, back this year. Big love across the board. And one of the things, guys, you can stand a chance to win some great opportunities, win some great prizes. Ooh, I'm looking on screen at the moment. Goliath, Rejects, Goliath, Travis. Definitely a duo that we're going to look out for here today.
Oh, for sure, for sure. We did see them compete in that qualifier 4. They didn't really place as high as we'd expect them to, but you always have those days where it's not really your best day. But when it comes to these big events, when it comes to these grand finals, this is where the Goliath boys can show up. We
Yeah.
know that they have that potential. They have what it takes to show up on these big days. So, we're definitely going to be keeping an eye out for them. And I'm really, really keen to see, as you mentioned earlier, how those end zones are going to be looking. And if I do say personally, I want to see some Storm Surge today. I really just want to be able to see some Storm Surge. It really just does make for such a fun and competitive environment. I just love seeing the panic, okay?
I panic. I tell you what, right now, when it comes out to Storm Surges getting involved, it is pure panic. It's like, if you know that it's going to be coming for you, you're looking, you're hunting, you're using that W key as fast as possible to try come up with some kind of elimination. And at the moment, you can already see from this lobby setting, we've only lost 2 teams. And we're already getting, I don't want to say to the latter stages, this is very much still the opening sequence, but it's so much more different from what we saw from the qualifiers of that quick, fast-paced games of, to be honest, at this point in time, we'd probably have half of the lobby only in the game because everybody was just going absolutely ham. Right now, outside Command Cannon, does look like Pleber's going to be jumping into the Siege Cannon. Let's see if he shoots himself into a forward-facing direction. Oh! Ooh! You gotta love the style points there.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. But just looking in the kill feed, I saw Luka Rakic just got knocked out already, and that is going to be quite a blow to them as well. I do believe Luka is playing with Reepsy today, so I'm not too sure if Reepsy is alive on that side, but it is going to be a rough one if that is how the game is going to be starting for them. But again, we can't count them out in the first game because you do tend to see that happen. You do tend to see those second games don't go too well, but you don't want to keep that. You don't want to keep that same momentum. You want to, at least, if you haven't had the best first game, third, fourth, fifth, you need to make sure you go all out.
And here we are with the clip submitter himself, Mr. Nitro, with a Penny alongside. And gotta love to see what they're doing. They've got a plan, and their plan is, I'm going to hide in this bush, you hide in that building, and let's see how long we survive, because they know how stacked this lobby is. Nitro, however, I believe came through in qualifier number 3, qualifying with his teammates. So a couple of the teams, we're alluding to it as we're going into the battle bus sequence of teams that we're looking forward to. Chimp to Cav, definitely a couple of the players that we are looking forward to, seeing what they can do. They came out second in qualifier number 3.
So just to give a perspective, right? They came out second, right? But first was obviously the Farmers. And you guys need to understand, they came out with 37 kills in that. 37 kills is not an easy feat.
No.
And yes, it might have been the qualifier. You could make that argument. But in every single qualifier, the only teams to ever go above 30 was Chimp and the Cav and the Farmers. Only those 2 teams were able to do that. So they're no small pushover team. They are really here to gun it for that top prize. And really, I'm going to be keeping my eye out on them because I personally have them as my favorites to be possibly taking this because they're just such a phenomenal team. And I mean, Chimp as well, a player we understand very, very well, has been competing in the scene for quite some time, is very, very talented. And the Cav as well, the upcoming player, also just tearing it apart in the community. So I'm really excited to see what they have to offer today.
Yeah, and I guess that narrative will unfold, and essentially that story needs to be told in game number 1, is that who is going to be the team that takes that lead? Do they have the big match temperament to be able to maintain that positional play? That is what we're waiting to see. I also want to find out from you all in the chat. Who are you backing? Who is your duo? If you want to be able to check it out, also head over to acgl.co.za/Absa. Head over to the finals, check out the participants. And from that side of things, you'll be able to get all the information that you need. Also relating to some of the other components of this series. And for right now, I've got to say that Slim Shady's finding himself taken down by Rejects. Travis is going to be able to follow through. 200 ping Pigeon is... gets taken down. Shotgun as the wall gets taken. Rejects comes in with a double. And already, Goliath showing exactly why they're worth their weight here in this competition.
This is exactly what we're alluding to. Is this is what they have to offer? This is the potential that they have as a team, and they're such a well-oiled machine. Same with how Boja and Neymar are. But I mean, Rejects and Travis are part of Goliath. These boys are not a part of Goliath for nothing. They really are the top of the best. And truly, I feel like they're going to show their worth in this event, and already seeing what they've done now, I feel this is only the start of what's to come later in this event.
The ball has started rolling, and it's all about just trying to pick up momentum. Obviously, some of the bigger teams here are going to try put a wall in front of them. Hopefully, the Goliath team doesn't edit it and keep building their momentum, or hopefully, just depending on what side of the fence you're sitting on. At the moment, we currently jump on board with Remo, sitting quite pretty in terms of what they got in terms of utility across the board, and sitting with some splashes. We've got... We got a decent setup, but it does look like they're lacking a little bit on the steel department, which is probably why they're rotating towards these towers right now.
Yeah, and you really need that metal going into those later zones because it is more fortified, although it does form a lot slower than brick. Because ideally you want to have brick because it does form faster than metal and is at least a bit more efficient. But you want to be able to have that more secure, those more secure builds, and wood really isn't that reliable, especially in these late zones where you are going to be pushed from every angle. You're going to get focused. You're going to get beamed. So you really need to try and get your metal count up. And seeing as they did there now, they are trying to get that up for themselves. And now we switch over to HBK, who is looking good at that 146 builds. Not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad in the back pocket. So, Skara, one of the beautiful things about this competition is actually brought some of the unknown players to the fore when it comes down to Fortnite. A couple of people getting involved inside of the qualifiers that we've never heard of before. And maybe to a couple of our newer viewers from this side of things, if you had to basically outline some of the better weapons currently in the game that some of these players are going to be fighting for, should they see it available, especially if there's a body on the ground and some loot to be able to grab, what do you think these players are going to try prioritize from a weapon standpoint?
You know, at this point, there really has been such a shift in meta because if this was the beginning of the game, right, I would have definitely have said, you know, that Mark 7 assault rifle, because when it first came out, I think we all knew how broken it was if you were able to hit your shots. But after the recent nerfs alongside that came with it, recently now, I think what we'd most likely try to be doing is, before I carry on, right?
Yeah.
Let us just take a look at our lovely bush warriors who were just enjoying the lovely scenery and just making themselves cozy. And I love to see that. If you have a plan, go for it. Just stick with it. You know, don't let anyone judge you. If it's your plan, if it works, it works.
I love the simplicity of the plan as well. It's like, we are going to go into the finals and we are going to go and find a bush. And we're going to hide in that bush until nobody spots us. And then when it's in the final circles, maybe we'll come out on top. But, ooh, it's like Pringle will pick himself up a kill as Venom ZA finds himself in the back end of... That was almost like a horror movie, right? You're walking into the supermarket, behind the door, shotgun goes off, and gets taken down. But yeah, please, Skara, continue on the weapon side of life, right?
Yeah, but so now mostly what we are going to be seeing from players is if you actually are able to spot out a blue or a purple striker burst assault rifle, I mean, that is just gold. That's a gold mine for you because the striker burst assault rifle is so effective, not only close range, but as well as long distance, because it does have that red dot sight that you can aim down with. And it is really, really effective at range. The shots that you're able to hit and how accurate it can be if you are able to control that recoil, it's just very devastating. So honestly, the meta I've been seeing as of late is most guys do opt for that striker burst assault rifle as long as that combat SMG or Stinger SMG. We haven't been seeing too much of the shotgun meta. We are seeing people running it, but it has mostly been that Stinger SMG and striker assault rifle meta. So I feel that's what we might mostly be seeing coming out of players. And I mean, as we switch over to HBK, we do see him running that striker burst assault rifle as well as that combat SMG. It's just become what's the best thing to use. And I feel especially the Stinger SMG, it's one of the best weapons that you can use, especially up close. It is just a shredding machine.
Yeah. one of the highest DPSs in the game at this point in time, does come coupled with probably one of the highest reloads of all the weapons. So once you essentially run out of bullets, make sure that you're changing over as quick as possible to finish off some kind of kill. But at the moment, it does look like we're approaching essentially the close of our third circle, and it does look like this road is heading outside the Coney Crossroads, and it does look like this space is going to end up being a little bit of a stacked environment itself, sitting currently with 29 teams still very much in this one, and you can see Habibi Raz as well as his teammate Abby just trying to figure out where they're going to deploy themselves. They don't want to give away positions, but they do want to be able to keep an eye on the opposition. Oh, some shots will be fired, not really connecting too well on that side. As it's all about just trying to hold your position, ADSing as well. And obviously, when it comes down to a full ADS, you're going to just restrict your movement a little bit more, as these two players currently finding themselves just outside of the storm circle, as it's going to rotate a bit south, so it means that they're going to need to move. We're still sitting with 28 teams on board, and here we go. We're on board currently with Chubbs as well as E-Tech.
Yeah, and this, it's so great to see this whole different feel where it's not really a W Key fest. And I'm not saying I don't like the W King, but I like to see the slow, methodical and tactical play or approach coming out from these players. And now with the grand finals in place, now a lot of these players understand that now there's a lot to ride for. This is where it all starts to unfold. So it's not really a thing of we can just randomly push anyone. You play as best as you can. You try to strategize. You need to come in here with a proper plan. And now we're seeing how players are properly rotating, topping, getting into zone, boxing himself up, not really trying to overpush anyone. And it's just a great sight to see for me. And I'm not too sure if we will be seeing that storm surge, but I'm going to be quite interested to see how things do turn out as the game starts to go on, as we do have 49 players and 27 teams in Zone 4.
So to Zone 4 we go, and as you can see, teams are getting themselves set, and now it's all about really how do you manage your mats? Are you going to also try play for height this early on? I think might be a little bit too much of an extreme. Whereas on the sidelines, it does look like players are going to both aim at Eternal. Just sticks his head out, goes, I just want to see what's happening, please. Throws down a couple of splashes. We'll get essentially 40 HP back in by the use of 2. And will be able to just build himself up a little bit of cover. An interesting weapon in its own right. Big fish, big ball. Ooh, I can't even say fish, big balls. He's going to be able to come out. Hunter bolt action sniper rifle. He's got in the back pocket. Interesting weapon. It's not something I'm expecting actually to see too much of.
Yeah, ooh, before we get to that, Fish Big Balls is really going to take heavy damage now, and it needs to make that rotation in, but unfortunately, it's going to get stopped. It's going to get caught by that zone, and unfortunately, is going to drop, and that is going to be their game 1. But yeah, talking about that Hunter bolt action, I really am intrigued to see that, because honestly, for those of you who are not aware, it's sort of like the bolt action sniper rifle that used to be in the game is what that essentially is. And what that was compared to what it is now, it really is not in its old glory anymore, because that bolt action sniper rifle really used to hit for about 110 body, and now it only hits for about 95 damage to the body, and it really isn't as effective as you'd want it to be. And even if you do hit those headshots, you only hit for about 190. So that is going to be quite frustrating, especially if you don't have someone to follow up that shot. I mean, you hit that 190 and the player just boxes up and heals back up. So it really is not as rewarding as you'd want it to be. So it is quite interesting to see when players are running those sniper rifles, especially the Hunter bolt action.
So absolutely. I think it's one of those things at this point in time with the Hunter bolt action is not necessarily a preferred weapon. However, maybe there's an extra strategy that these players are going to be able to use when they can fire together. I think both of these players, your father as well as Vibes, Scara's favorite word of the day, vibes. They both spot out essentially those resources on the right, but nobody's going to be able to grab that in hand at the moment. It is going to be the rotations coming through, and they managed to get themselves to relative safety, but it does look like they're slightly separated from one another, and this is where everything starts to get very, very interesting. The top side versus the bottom side versus those who are going to try tops directly through the middle. You can see how many players are all stacked here at this point in time. 36 players inside of this very, very confined environment. This is where it starts to get exciting.
This is really where it starts to unfold. This is really where it starts to show who is the best of the best, because it's these types of situations that test you and see how good are you in the situations. How do you handle yourself with your duo? Have you prepared? Are you able to handle this? And this is really the test that all of these players need to pass.
Yeah, and what I like currently about just the way that this map has played out so far, we're on a relatively even ground, and there's no mountains, there's no huge areas of water involved, which means that this game number one has been set at a very even kill in terms of opportunity across the board, and it's not necessarily your rotations that are going to be absolutely detrimental. When it is a little bit more flat, it is a little bit more forgiving, and at this point in time, the circle will start moving. So this is where it starts to get a little bit tense. Keep an eye on the top left-hand corner of your screen as we have 35 teams. Storm Surge warning, let's go.
I'm excited. I am so excited. This is what I've been waiting to see. Now this is really going to test who's really able to handle the pressure of this, because it really does pressure you into getting that damage or into trying to stay above that Storm Surge threshold. So really, I want to see it happen. I want to see how these players do play this out. Now we all switch over to my Heartbeat Sound, who is making that rotation into the next zone. Does have 1 kill, as well as Cobra sitting on 2 kills. Currently sitting on those 3 kills. They're comfortably chilling with that launch pad. They have decent amount of heals. They have a good amount of build, so they are looking good with regards to that rotations into the late zone. But now we are switching over to my Heartbeat Sound again, who is going to be topping into that next zone. And now the action is starting to unfold. People are going to start falling as the bullets are flying. And now we are sitting with 34 players and 19 teams. And that is going to be the Storm Surge that is going to activate.
Storm Surge has activated. That damage will start to filter through, especially if players have not been essentially really participating in the game at this point in time. So for right now, your father's going to be the one going through rotations, checks out the top side, will be able to try and make his way over. However, it feels that that's a little bit too much of a dangerous move. All by himself at the moment. Teammate Vibes is currently down. We are still down to the top 30 players. Players getting eliminated all over the map, as it is AV Dan as well as... a determinant name there from Pietrus as we move over to Genie on his side of things. Currently sitting with 2 eliminations in the back pocket, and currently in the middle of it all, whips out the shotgun, takes out the wall, and does look like the doorway will end up being the doorway to the exit lobby, as it is going to be Nightclo that gets removed.
And that is going to be Nightclo's game. And now we're sitting with 26 players and 15 teams left now. And we have Jamie, who is going to be sitting in that zone, needs to make that rotation and does have that mid miss to possibly just heal himself back up, but cannot be staying too long in that zone, and it is hitting for heavy damage. We are dropped now to 13 teams and 20 players left. We are now here with Rejects, who is on height, who is going to get dropped. And that
is that?
Oh my goodness, I'm not even able to see who is able to do that. But that's going to be Barry, who's going to drop down our Rejects. And now it is left to Travis to clutch it out for the Goliath boys. And now we have 14 players left, 11 teams. That is almost... that is so many solo teams that we have left now. Yep. So it is going to be quite an interesting one to see how this is going to be played out. But we do have Travis here on height, who is going to possibly secure that position for himself now. And... we are down to 13 players now. The numbers have dropped significantly. Yeah. And now it is still going down as this zone is still moving in.
We're down to the top 9 teams at this point in time, 12 players, so quite a few solos as you pointed out, but here we go. On screen at the moment it is a duo, and it is going to be, I believe, Barry that gets eliminated there from that side of things, as your father also finds himself down. Ooh, Storm Surge, or at least Storm going to be able to take down one of the players there, just finding themselves on the outer rim. So down to the top 9 players. Remo currently sitting all alone, has that pump shotgun in hand, and will be able to get down to some kind of cover at this point in time. Tries to wrap around, and to my Heartbeat Sound with Cobra on, it looks like top side, but that just might be Travis just above them.
Yeah, now we are down to our 9 players and 6 teams that are left. We do have Cobra and To My Heartbeat Sound here, who are sitting on that 6 kills. But now that is going to be Cobra and To My Heartbeat Sound that just instantly drop. And that is going to be Chubbs who claims that kill on them. Chubbs and Itake looking extremely good now. They have that 3 kills, going to be topping into that next zone. We are down to our last 5 teams, ladies and gentlemen. 7 players left, and the zone is floating in. It is getting more and more tighter now, as these players have to get up and close with each other. The zone is closing in. These players are going to have to engage now. They're going to have to drop down. We have Dan, he is sitting on height at the moment. 5 players left in this lobby. 3 teams, 2v1. Who is going to take match number 1 of the Absa Gaming Festival? We will have to wait and see as we look down at Goliath Travis, who is the last solo player in his team that is going to be left. Just cut out the player. Is going to wait, but it's going to drop down as the base is going to be broken. Travis is going to be taken down. It is going to be 2v2. It taken Chubbs versus the team on high. They're going to drop down. Chubbs is going to find the big end. Isn't able to hit it. It's a big.
There we go. It's going to be a take that comes up with a cleanup to take the victory royale for game number 1 here of the Absa Gaming Festival featuring Fortnite. What a game number 1 that was. And we have the fastest elimination as well as most elims on the board. The longest elimination going over to Controller. And not a bad one across the board. Match time sitting at 25 minutes in total. And gotta say, game number 1 proved to be very, very tight. And I think game number 2 is going to set itself just as closely contested. I can't wait to see exactly how this is going to play out on the leaderboard, but I guess from our side of things, we've got to keep an eye on it. But setting the tone essentially for game number 1, Skara, I'm letting you catch your breath because things got a little bit hectic there towards the end. What was your thoughts on game number 1? Do you think that we had a fair representation there? I was kind of surprised when Rejects got taken down. Travis found himself just dropped down to the bottom side of that circle, left all alone. Obviously, his teammate not with him. And then it was the final duo of Itaken Chubbs that just managed to really come through on top.
You know what? I feel this is really the perfect representation of what we will be seeing today. It's that slow-paced gameplay that we're going to be seeing. We're going to be seeing a few kills here right off the bat, but we will be seeing a lot more players play more reserved, playing for that end game. And again, that Storm Surge might make an appearance again later. We may not know. We'll have to see. But that is exactly what we should be expecting today. And I mean, just recapping on what we just witnessed in game number 1, seeing all of that play out was honestly breathtaking. I could not tell who was going to take that. It was just crazy. People dropping left, right, and center. I mean, one team literally dropped down right in front of Chubbs and a take, and they just got absolutely deleted. Not even a second for us to review what they were doing. And I mean, and we also saw now Travis, unfortunately, the builds were broken under him, and he did make that fall, which ultimately led to his death, that he was going to be focused. Because, again, it wasn't too good, because he was going to be focused by those last 2 teams who were looking towards that into Storm. So, unfortunately, he did what he could, got his team to that top 3, but unfortunately, that's just how the cookie crumbles. And it taken Chubbs. Beautiful gameplay coming out from them. They did the first game.
Huge gameplay coming out from Itaken Chubbs on that side of things. I think now the tone has been set, ladies and gentlemen. 20,000 Rand in cash is up for grabs. Remember, if you want to be able to stand a chance to get yourselves as a part of the prize pool or the part of some kind of prizes, exclamation mark giveaway. Keep on paying attention to exactly what we might be showing you here today, because we also have that giveaway at the end of the stream, the mystery question for 250 Rand in gaming vouchers of your choice. But on your screen, at the moment, that Xbox Series S and a controller, wireless controller, as well as Game Pass in the back pocket. You can make sure that you're gaming in comfort, whether that in your lounge, maybe in your room, wherever. But Absa are taking care of things here today. And we'll be taking you through essentially the rest of the cast, which we'll pick off in a bit. But one of the questions I actually saw coming through, there are a couple of new viewers, so a big welcome to all of you across the board. But one of the questions coming through was Storm Surge. Skara, what is a Storm Surge?
All right, so for those of you who don't understand, I do actually see that as my bad for not explaining what Storm Surge is. So for those of you who don't understand, Storm Surge is basically, it triggers when there's too many players in a certain zone, right? So the numbers do vary from zone to zone, but once there is a certain amount of players in that zone, Storm Surge is going to be worn, and if the number does not decrease, Storm Surge is going to be activated, right? And once it is activated, a number of damage is given. So let us just say 300, right? You as a player, as your team, need to be above that damage threshold. Otherwise, you will get struck by the storm. So the storm does shoot down lightning bolts that ultimately does do damage to you or your partner. So you need to ensure that as a team or as a player, you are staying above that damage threshold. Otherwise, you will be taken down by the storm.
You will be taken down indeed by the storm. Shot, thank you so much, Scarra, for explaining that from your side of things. But for right now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll leave you with some highlights of game number 1. Before we go to game number 2, we're going to catch our breath, get ourselves re-energized, and hopefully the storm surge doesn't catch us during the break. We'll see you for game number 2. Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to the action here today of the Absa Gaming Festival. Game number 1 has just taken place. Game number 2 is about to go down. But I'm joined by my number 2, Mr. Scurra himself. How are you feeling, Scurra?
I think if you were there for match number 1 and you heard my voice, you understand where I'm at or where my head is right now. I am so excited. It's only been match 1. We still have 4 more games to go. But, what a game it was, and what a day we have left. I am so excited for what we have. Now we're going into round number 2. What are your thoughts on that, Nick?
Round number 2. I guess the stage has been set in a lot of ways of game number 1. Round number 2 is going to be a heavily contested scenario. I think still same kind of mental. Game number 1 is okay if you didn't perform to your fullest potential, as some of these teams will definitely feel. Game number 2, go in with that strategy that you had previously. Just make sure that you clean it up a little bit, because if you fall behind again, that's where game 3, you start to have that mental attitude of, I've got to change my strategy up, right? So this is the composure. This is the opportunity for those that are in the lead to just make sure that we keep on doing what we're doing, right? But on the other side of things, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining in on the stream, keep doing what you're doing. Spread the word, spread the love, because there's obviously a bunch of action that is still going to kick off. Scurra, we have 5 games here today in terms of what we're going to be able to watch. Are you going to be able to make it through? Do I need to send you like some halls, some water? Because I know during the break you were telling me like, man, I need to go get some water because this is getting ridiculous.
Can someone send me grandpa, please? Because my head already is... I'm not even going to lie to you. My head was spinning after that first game, right? I got a bit too hyped, I'm not going to lie, but that is just the feel that you're going to get today. That is just how big of a day it is today. It is the grand finals. We've been leading up to this, and it is just paying out. It's going to play out to be quite an amazing event because, as you've mentioned, it's stacked. You've got so many amazing teams that are competing here. And one thing we also need to keep in mind is we didn't even see the farmers in the end game. We didn't see Bojo Neymar. We didn't see Ace and Glubs in the end.
Yeah.
It was teams that we didn't even make it to that far. Only Travis made it that far from one of our favorites. So that should really give you an understanding of this is not just a pushover event. Everyone is here to play for that top spot. So it's not going to be such an easy feat to just run over lobbies anymore.
100%. It's not going to be an easy feat. And as you mentioned, there was a little bit of like a cognitive slip in terms of being able to say, what are they playing here today? But what are they paying here today? Absa is one of the things that we're talking about. What are they paying? 20,000 Rand in cash. It just shows you why it's so much more beneficial to be able to get partners involved. And Absa Gaming, a big shout out, 20K prize pool divided between essentially the top 8 teams here today, the top 8 duos. So first place, 10,000 Rand. Second place, 5,000 Rand in cash. Third place, 2,000. Fourth, 1,000, and then 5th to 8th, you'll all find yourself with 500 bucks in the back pocket, all for a good day's work of Fortnite. And I actually saw one of the parents commenting in chat, man, this is so stressful as a parent. Can you imagine as a player? These guys are sitting among some of the very, very best Fortnite players across the country. And listen, if it was me, I'd be shaking. I'd be shaking, man, because the level of play, as you mentioned, absolutely, it is so high, so stacked.
I mean, you're playing against players that have been in this community for years, played Fortnite since Chapter 1, have been competing since Chapter 1.
Yeah.
So you do have that nerve-wracking feeling with, how am I going to be able to come up against these players? How am I going to be able to match up against them? Your best idea is, you just go in, you play your game and see how it goes, because there's nothing much you can do there, but it is nerve-wracking. From our side, trying to watch how this plays out, yeah, it makes you nervous, but try to put yourself in the shoes of a player. How does it feel to be in such a compact zone where there's almost 36 players in such a small and confined zone? How do you navigate around that? How do you play around that? It's that fortified mentality that some of these players have, that they're able to just block all of that out and still able to play their game. And that's really why I respect them.
Yeah, big respect. And I mean, it's one of those situations that when you're in a gunfight, it's so much more than that in Fortnite. It's putting a wall down, controlling that space, then your opposition trying to take it down. Will you go for the hold strategically, or you're going to go for a quick edit when they pull up their weapon to try take down that mental mind game? And this is where, when that stress gets compacted, your practice and the amount of time that you've put in really comes through, because your muscle memory just has to be on point of how you're going to adapt in these various fights. Experience shines through, and that's why we always seem to see some of the better players lasting towards those final circles. That's not by sheer luck alone. It really shows you the high level of skill that our own players across the country are showing, not only today, but have shown throughout the year.
Yeah, for sure. And it's those little split-second decisions that they make. As you mentioned, Nick, what do I do? Do I put up a wall? Do I put the wall? Do I edit it? Do I try to take a pump shot? Do I switch over to a striker? But, it's these little split-second decisions that these guys make that, that lead to their victory, or that lead to them ultimately closing out that fight, is really what makes, or what separates them from, the casual or normal players to actually being the pro players. And again, this is why I respect these players, because of that split-second decision making, especially in these high intensity moments. I mean, you need to understand, being in those confined zones, you need to be able to make smart decisions. Okay, there's people around me. There's 3 players in another box next to me. How do I play that out? How do I get into their box, or how do I try to escape from them? These little decisions that these players are able to make is really why I love to watch these types of scenarios.
All right. One of the things that you alluded to is those split-second decisions, deciding whether you win or not, right? And guess what? There's a split-second decision for our... well, you got a little bit more time if you're spectating. Type in ! giveaway. You'll be able to get yourself into that Xbox One S as a prize here today. For right now, the bus has taken off, and we are getting ready for game number 2. Game number 1 taken by essentially E-Take as well as Flash, aka Chubbs, aka Flash, aka, it's just going to be a back and forth between those two, but Flash is the one currently playing on that side of things. But it does look like Tayson is going to be going outside of Shifty Shafts. The scene will get set for game number 2 as, does look, what? Nitro getting an early shot there, taking on Chubbs. Interesting.
Ooh, okay. No, we would love to see it, and that... already almost the match winners now that are getting dropped very, very early. So that is really detrimental to them, and that is going to be now Take who is going to be left alone. That is match number 1's winners, so it is not looking good already right off the bat. Is going to be able to take that reboot card, but again, have to go through Penny and Nitro first, and we'll have to see how this does end up playing out. So it does seem that Take will possibly try to get into the building and possibly try to secure Flash's reboot card, but now he does run into Nitro. Is going to take down Nitro, and Nitro is going to pay the price for that. Now it is left to Penny, who needs to clutch it out. Does get that refresh and is going to get the siphon off of that kill. Going to be put up to 136 HP. Going to also pop that mini shield just to get into 150. Penny is looking good on that 150 as well. But we're going to have to see how this does play out. Penny is possibly opting to maybe try and re-strategize, see how else he can approach the situation. Maybe going to try and take height from the outside, but not really going to try and risk it, and just possibly going to hold down below. Oh, but is going to spot out Take is going to get some builds out. Penny is going to try and clutch this out. Is going to get dropped down to 111 HP now.
Ooh.
Is going to run into the building, possibly just to reset. Does have the mini shields. Does have that mid kit that he can pop as well. Needs to at least pop a two mini shields. Is going to do that now, but Take possibly also going to be on the prowl for Penny. Is not going to let up. Penny is going to clutch it out and does take down Take. And that is the team of Nitro and Penny taking out the match winners, and we love to see the emotes.
The rest of the lobby at this point in time is probably celebrating because they know that those big names have gone down, now giving them a huge opportunity to essentially claim some footing back in this series. As we mentioned, this is a best out of 5, so if your game number 1 wasn't good, right, you can literally have 0 points from game number 1 and still make a comeback here. That is the differential. That is what these teams are playing for. And that is what we like to see from this narrative. And we asked a question a little bit early on. Will the bigger name teams go into a contested spot? Will they play it safe? Will they... We've just had one of those questions answered right here, right now. Our winners from game number 1 are getting reduced to one of the losers from game number 2. And this just shows you how tightly contested these games can be.
See, this is really why I love the feel of the grand finals. You just never know what can happen. And it's not just the top teams are pushing over everyone. Everyone is here to play. It is a whole different feel because everyone knows what's on the line, what we're playing for. And as we just saw, you can come out for, you can be the first team to die in match number 1. You can be, the third last team or in the middle, but you still have a chance to make it to that top of the leaderboard. You still have 4 more matches that you can make up for it. And already now, our match winners just got instantly taken out in match number 2. So there's a lot to play for. And it is not going to be an easy night for any of these players.
Not going to be an easy night, and like we keep on saying, the stage is getting set. There's going to be role players that are going to be coming out early on. There's going to be those behind the scenes building their names for game number 2. And it's all about how will this play out. I'd love to find out your predictions in the chat, but right now it does look like we've got a player currently being knocked, as it is going to be Jazzy on iMac as well as Ulrizi that finds themselves getting eliminated, and it's Sobzi going on hunting inside of this building to see if they can get themselves an elimination. So far, very similar to game number 1 in terms of not seeing too many eliminations early on. Controller and Sobzi, definitely a team that we need to keep an eye on. I'm not too sure, was it qualifier 2 that we saw a little bit of them?
I believe it was qualifier 2 where we actually did see them. They didn't do too well, but again, qualifier 2 really was closely contested. We did see a lot of teams did play fairly composed, fairly relaxed gameplay, and I think we only started seeing a lot more of the action unfold in qualifier 3 and 4. But again, we will just have to see how it does play out, because coming into this grand final now, a lot of, like we've mentioned again, the feel is different. It's not the same feel as the qualifier, so anybody can show up today. So they have the possibility and potential to actually show up in today's grand final. So we'll have to see what actually does end up coming out from them. And I do believe that they have what it takes to show up. So, Controller, let's see what you can show us today.
Now, here's a team who actually struggled to get into game 1, as far as I understand. It's Bojo as well as Neymar, our tournament favorites. Now, going into this game number 2, they realize that the stakes have been raised up a little bit higher here. And it's a team that I definitely won't ride out by any means, especially when they've got this, like, they've got this little bit against them, right? I mean, no points on the board. And if anything, the fall and grace of what we saw from Penny and Nitro early on is going to play huge into their favor. Essentially, they win this game or come out in the top 2, they are right there, right back in it. At the moment, Chimp and Decav, a team that we have been keeping an eye on since qualifier number 3, and now showing their stuff here in the series. I do want to keep an eye on the standings, however, just to see if there are any changes. At the moment, it is, of course, Flash as well as E-Take in that first place. We've got team, I believe this is Aventix in 45 points in second place. That is Daffin Bro as well as Smeg. And then third place, actually being held by Travis as well as Rejects.
You know what? I'm not even surprised with that because, again, we did see Travis did secure that placement points for the Goliath boys, and he did his best. Unfortunately, couldn't do much further as the last two teams were ultimately focusing him. And it wasn't a thing of, oh, we're focusing him because he's a solo. I mean, in those situations, anything that moves, you shoot at it. Your teammate moving, you shoot. No risk. But at this point, I think it's good. I'm glad to see that they were able to get that position on the leaderboard because they did fairly well for themselves. But now we're here with Neymar and Bojo, who might be running into a team at the moment.
This is what we wanted to see. Neymar and Bojo, they're so prolific in their own right. Some might even argue maybe the top team in South Africa, but they've got a point to prove here today. And right now, being on the back foot, they want to hunt down some kills. They want to hunt down some points as well. Neymar and Bojo on the hunt as they spot these two players. They managed to get the height, which is immediately, I mean, if you're the opposite team, you're like, I do not want Bojo and Neymar above me. That is literally a nightmare scenario.
You know, at this point in time, I just believe this game is a horror game, especially having these types of players on top of you, or like on heights, and they're just aiming down at you with the striker burst assault rifle or Stinger SMG. You know, it's not an ideal situation you want to find yourself in. So I think at that point, just start praying that all goes well, because otherwise, you'll find yourself back in that lobby.
Yeah, I think if there's any video editors out there at this point in time, just put some horror music next to some of the highlights from this tournament, and it immediately changes the tone, because there have been some scary moments for some of these players, where the players popping out of a bush behind a door. But right now, Genie's in a little bit of a horror movie himself as he gets tagged up heavily from range, and Pietrus looks like he's also in a little bit of a precarious position himself, as it does look like shots get fired from the side. Does look like the Daily Bugle going to find itself printing out a newspaper with a headline stating that a duo is down, but which duo will it be?
Oh, yeah, and now it seems the Storm will be pulling towards the Daily Bugle side. And as you mentioned, in the first match, we at least saw it was on even ground, right? There wasn't any water over it, or there wasn't a height disadvantage with regards to one team being on a mountain and one being on the bottom or low ground. But I think now, yeah, it might be a bit of a tricky one, seeing that it's going to be ending towards Bugle side, where there is also a possibility for it landing either on a mountain side or on water. So I'm curious to see how this will play out, because again, it does affect how these players rotate, how they do play. So yeah, I will be interested to see how things do play out with regards to how this does play out. And we are here with Tem and Storm. Tem and Storm, a team that actually competed. I believe that was in qualifier 4. They came, I think, in 3rd place, and they came with 20 kills. 20 kills out of the qualifier. 20 kills. That is no easy thing to do. And that was, again, in one of our most stacked lobbies in our qualifiers. And that was the 2nd highest. So they are a team that also can pull out a really, really good surprise for us today, because they're really talented. Storm as well. Storm is another prolific player. He's done extremely well for himself, been a part of many great organizations, one such as Energy Esports in the past. Yep. So he himself as well is a very, very talented player, and I feel that he also can possibly pull out something today, but we'll have to see what ultimately does come out from him and Tem.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see indeed, as game number 2 is another tone being set altogether. I still keep on reverting back to that first moment, essentially when Flash as well as E-Take got taken down. But at the moment, it's going to be Washi Albert that finds his teammate just with a building surrounding him and trying to keep him alive, as does start the revive. 10 seconds. It's so difficult, right? If somebody's got you pegged down, and just trying to build up enough cover to just be able to pick up a raise. But from the other side of things, the team that does get the knock, they decide, are we going to actually go for this? Or is this just a resource waste? A resource whirlpool, if you will. If we just keep on shooting and we keep on using all of our ammunition, are we going to find ourselves here on the back foot ultimately?
You know, I think in those situations, it also depends on what your count is. A lot of these players, before we get to that, we are going to switch over to a fight here, and it is going to be Neymar and Bojo already on the scene. 2 kills for themselves, and they're really making their names known already.
It's what you like to see, right? I mean, from these two, being a point is what they want to be able to do here today, to be able to take that top title, that 10k in the back pocket. At the moment, Savage is going to be knocked quite heavily down, essentially on the counter. just outside of the circle, and you can just feel that burst rifle just rattling slowly but surely, and that is in the hands of Chili, who's essentially put Savage in a very, very horrible position as Smile Dog takes him down.
Yeah, and that is just going to be it for Savage as well, as Chili is going to run up and just try to just get the confirmation on this kill now. And yeah, just going to pop down that keg, possibly at least be able to heal up Savage, getting back up. But again, that 10-second counter, it's so hard. It really is difficult. And you know, you think of 10 seconds as it's just 10 seconds, it's quick. But in these competitive scenarios, think of 10 seconds as if it's 10 minutes. That's how it feels. Being in that situation, 10 seconds feels like 10 minutes, because in these competitive scenarios, you can hardly ever get 3 seconds or 5 seconds to yourself, because in that point in time, you can get instantly beamed from 200 to 0. So you have to be really careful, and time is really, really important in these scenarios, and it can be very effective to many things that you do.
Yeah, and even on the opposite side of things, so much resources just to try defend those 10 seconds were put in place. And you go, now we're in a worse situation. We've been downed, essentially, from that side of things. We've used pretty much all of our heals as well as our shields from that side. I think he was using the Chug Splash. Oh, no, it was the Shield Keg, I believe. The good old, what I like to call the Sprinkler from that side. And it's just so difficult now. You need to try find resources, and the only real way that you can do that is by trying to find eliminations, because a lot of these spaces outside of Daily Bugle at this point in time have been looted in their entirety.
Exactly, and now it's so hard, especially to try to find those refreshers late into the zone. And I already saw in the kill feed Savage was taken down. So now you need to think about it, right? You've expended all those materials, all those heals, tried to get someone up, and they still get finished. That really now puts you in such a disadvantaged position, because now you have to try and make that rotation out. You need to try clutch it out for your team, but again, you also need a refresh. You need heals, you need materials, and trying to do that in this type of zone is going to be very, very difficult, especially as you mentioned. Daily Bugle has most probably been looted from top to bottom, so you need a refresh, you need to find a kill on a player, and in this situation, not too easy to do that.
Yeah, and those were essentially those loot drops are going to be absolutely huge across the map. At the moment, the crates, you can spot them on essentially that south as well as north side, respectively. Nobody really making a move for the top side. But at the moment, the two that we are keeping an eye on pretty much the most is going to be Bojo as well as Neymar. I mean, stepping into the game, sitting with 2 eliminations. It's not too many, but considering essentially the level of these competitors, it is quite a bit at the same time. I mean, at the moment, we do see Nyclo getting knocked, and it's going to be the cleanup coming in from Neymar as they make it 3 elims now in total. Definitely a duo that is trying to prove a point here today.
They want to show out. They want to show that they are the best team. They want to prove that they're the best team. And I mean, who wouldn't believe that? With the performance that they've had as of late, they're really, really shredding every single lobby that they're in. So again, I wouldn't be surprised as to say these are going to be the favorites to win it. But we can't count out all the other teams. It is going to be a closely contested event. But already their first match in, and they're really, really making a statement.
Yeah, a big statement needs to be made here by all of these teams as well as players alike. And a team that wants to do exactly that, Chimp and Decav. Chimp had a little bit of a time out, essentially, from the Fortnite community for a little bit, just catching a little bit of breather, reevaluating a couple of things, and has come back firing on all cylinders for the most part. And I'm looking forward to seeing how there might be more development. Maybe there's been learning during this period of quietness, time to reflect on things, essentially. And maybe there's going to be opportunity for them to filter into that top 4 here today.
Yeah, definitely. And we know Chimp was just taking some time away, getting some family time in, getting a bit of a breather. But now he's back to work. He's back in the office, and he's ready to play. He's really been doing so well as he's been back with the Cav. And again, they've been a team that worked so well in Qualifier 3. I mean, we had so much fun casting over that event, and we saw how dominant they were alongside the team of the Farmers. So I'm really going to be very, very excited to see if they actually make it to the top 5 or even top 3, because I do believe they are able or are capable of making it into that top spot. But speaking of teams that are able to make it to the top spot, we switch over to Ace and Glubs. Team 47, another team that is very, very talented, and again, a team that has done so well for themselves recently and placing very, very high as of late. So I'm really, really excited to see what comes from them today.
Yeah, talking about that in terms of their placement. Previously, qualifier number 4, we can all agree, was probably the most stacked. They came out second. This team that is currently on screen, that is Team 47, as you mentioned, AC as well as Glubs. And not looking too bad in terms of the resources in the back pocket, as we can see. Once again, a relative flat terrain, as height control seemingly was one of the biggest things for teams going in towards those final circles. But at the moment, it does look like... Is that Chimp getting knocked from range by your father?
Oh, that is going to be Chimp falling down, and now it's going to be left to Decav.
Whoa, and that's not a position they want to be in. Seemingly focus fired from range, sitting decently in terms of resources at this point in time, with essentially around about 1,900 or 1,400. Quick math across the board, difficult. But from the other side of things, Raxa, sitting also in a very, very difficult situation, all alone. No health to be able to work with, just a mini. Not really favoring his chances.
Yeah, not looking good. And so Barry, for those you don't know, is a Reapsy, and unfortunately, yeah, that is just going to be Luca who's going to be left alone to clutch it out for the team. And another thing that we need to note is that this was the same scenario that they found themselves in the beginning. Luca dropped a bit early, was picked up, but then again, it was just left down to Reapsy. And I think there's maybe something that they need to possibly reevaluate there. Because it seems like they are getting picked out quite early, but I'm sure they'll be able to sort that out. But again, they are a team that recently formed, as we do know. Reapsy was playing with Crispy, but unfortunately they did part ways, and now we are with Luca and Reapsy, as well as Crispy and Ginger. So they are a fairly new team, so we'll have to see how they do play it out, or if they were able to just get in that practice, get in some strats, and they are able to just show over their results in this grand final.
So it's something just to talk about. I know for some of you might be old Fortnite players and you've seen a couple of big changes. Movement has changed so dramatically. I mean, right now players are able to sprint, they're able to mantle, they're able to move around. I think it was more than likely to do with mostly the no-build scenario. But what is your take on it? Has it really influenced competitive play?
You know what, hey, believe it or not, it really has been a massive, massive change, right?
Yeah.
Because as you mentioned, it was most probably just for the no build. So I think it wasn't really something that was focused or wanted, that they wanted to add into the competitive side of things or into the BR, the build BRs. But the addition of it has been so crucial, because you being able to do that tactical sprint, it really does help you try and make those early rotations, or just trying to make a rotation without properly being easily focused, because it does make it a bit harder for you to possibly focus someone that is tactical sprinting. So again, one, you can also preserve the materials that you're using or that you have to utilize that tactical sprint. And again, with the mantling, you can reserve your builds. Don't have to build up. You don't have to break anything. Easily just mantle up some builds. It really has changed a lot of the play styles, and really has added for a lot more creative gameplay for a lot of these players, because now you don't necessarily even have to build to get up to some of these structures or to get to height. You can just mantle all the way up. So being able to save those materials may look like a small feat now, but in the long run, it plays a massive difference. And speaking of that, Storm Surge, is that your IP?
It's your favorite thing coming out to play once again, the Storm Surge, as we're going to see, I believe the threshold is above only 433, so not necessarily demanding too much of the players from that side of things, but it does look like the damage will start to make its way in, as those that find themselves not finding any damage, they're going to essentially be chased down here. At this point in time, we see Pringle essentially being able to pick up an elimination on that side of things, as we'll be able to pick up another, and that's Timberdut as well as Stormzestros. Whoa, Pringle just went massive.
massive, and that is now going to be Storm and Tim who are going to be out, and Vibes now in the kill feed is going to drop Ginger, and that is going to be the team of Ginger and Crispy. So going to be quite interesting to see how they do play that out. It is really unfortunate to see a lot of these players are going to start falling now, and Storm Surge is going to activate, and now all of these players need to get their damage up or they're going down. And now we're here with Pitchers, who is going to be on low HP, is going to be topping into that zone and just try to set himself up and maybe just try to refresh himself, and the med mist is going to get popped and at least get him back up to optimum health. And now we are down to 25 players, 15 teams. It is going to be chaos as the zone starts to close in further and further. We are in zone number 7 and players are starting to drop.
Players are starting to drop. One of the things I am wondering, is Neymar and Bojo still alive? That is a question. I believe that they have been eliminated as the call-out, so they've still got a bit of work to do, and at the moment the placement positions are still very much up for grabs. We are currently on board with Vibes as well as your father. Not your real father, of course, but just the player himself, currently sitting with 2 eliminations in the back pocket. And they're top. They've got some good height as things have been essentially getting closer and closer towards the Daily Bugle, which does have some heighted positions itself. And maybe a position for these players to be able to leverage off of some of their builds. Yeah. Ooh, Travis is still alive.
Goodness, and Travis is not looking too fantastic. I mean, the Storm just sneezes on him, he's dead. That's Travis! Oh my gosh, this is going to give me anxiety. But Travis now is going to run up against the player, possibly going to try and get that refresh or get the siphon off of this player, but it's going to be too difficult. And does get the siphon, and that is going to be massive coming off for Travis. Isn't able to get any white heals, but is going to just make that rotation in as he does have that refresh that does happen, and is going to get a skill. Travis, you absolute monster. Now he's going to make that rotation into zone. Another player drops down. Is going to be able to tag the player. Is going to be boxed up, but now Travis needs to make that rotation into the zone. The zone is closing in now as we have 9 players and 6 teams left. We have Travis now, who is going to be sitting with those shields. Is going to be looking good for now, but doesn't have those white heals now. We switch over to Cobra and to my Heartbeat Sound, who are down below. Have that 1 kill. Have the decent amount of
no builds
of heals, but no builds whatsoever. So it is going to be looking rough as this game is starting to close out.
Oh, I want to be able to see if Travis is still in this one. At the moment, it is going to be AV Dan that picks himself up at an elimination. He is in the storm. Run is the call-out as we are down to the top 7 players, top 4 teams. At the moment, it's going to be Cobra that gets the kill, and it's a follow-up to my Heartbeat Sounds. We are down to the top 5. 3 teams is what remains, and it does look like the top position will be taken up by AV Dan as he sits on top and keeps the fire raining down below. This is if you're on the low side. It is not where you want to be. Travis is somehow still alive. He is in a 1v3 situation at this point in time, but he gets knocked down, and we're down to Cobra taking on a 1v1, and it is going to be our winner coming out on top of game number 2. Big plays coming out here today.
My goodness. What?
And there we go, in terms of the leaderboard, Nitro with the fastest but possibly one of the most important eliminations after 1 minute and 24 seconds. Going over the most eliminations to Smile Dog, and then we've got Tayson picking up with 217 in terms of total distance. What a game number 2 that was from that side of things, Scurra. And I'm actually quite shook how Travis managed to make his way through that last component. He did get knocked down at the end to get a top 3 finish. But such a good performance from the teams across the board.
You know what, and this is why we highlighted the team of Rejects and Travis. It's just that moment where Travis just pulled out mad gameplays. How do you do that? I mean, he was on 3 HP, 50 shield. You would have never expected him to at least claim 2 to 3 kills in that time period and still be alive and still able to claim a top 3 position. Like, it really baffles my mind with how crazy that was coming out from Travis.
Yeah, well, I mean, from the teams overall, showing once again why height is so important when it comes down to some of those final circles. We saw in game number 2, that was absolutely pivotal. And when it comes down to game number 3, the tension will essentially once again get set, as I'm sure we're going to see a big change in the leaderboards considering our first eliminations of the game. We talked about Nitro a little bit early on, and how they managed to take down the #1 team. I think everybody in chat was saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We really, really appreciate it at this point in time. Fist bumps and high fives across the board. But game number 3 gets another opportunity for the duo teams to be able to get themselves set and ready for that 20,000 Rand cash pool that they're going to be fighting for. If you had to say that there was one pivotal aspect to game number 2, what would you say that was from the teams across the board?
You know what? Honestly, it might be miniature, right? But that first moment already, with having the team of Penny and Nitro drop a take and Chubbs very early on, I think that moment already in turn tells you that's the match winners of match number 1, right? Now the mentality going into match number 2 is, okay, our game winners are out. Now it's a chance for us to actually claim that top spot, try to get onto the top of the leaderboard. Because I mean, if they dropped out that early, no ways you can't top them, right? Especially if you have a good game. And already, I feel the Goliath boys already can possibly claim that top spot, or maybe top 3 as well, with that amazing performance coming up from Travis. So it's just those little moments where it's like, yeah, they got taken out very early, but when you understand the context of how important those kills were, it really does pay dividends in the long run.
So one of the things I think, if that is game number 2 in terms of what was the biggest things that paid dividends, right, is that game number 3, 4, and 5. This is where mental fortitude is absolutely so important, right? Is that you need to make sure that you're playing quite a long session now in terms of being able to compete up against some of the best players. Do you have that mental fortitude to be able to carry yourself over, to keep yourself going, whether you're some of those top teams or whether you're one of the lower teams trying to rise up the ranks? We're going to have to wait and see to see who comes out on top. But one thing that you can try find out is how to get inside of our giveaways. Of course, we've got that Xbox One S. Remember, we also have the mystery giveaway. But the Xbox One S, as well as, I believe, it is a wireless controller, Xbox Game Pass. All you have to do, type in !giveaway in the chat, and you're going to be able to stand a chance to get yourself this lovely piece of machinery, courtesy of Absa Gaming Direct. Now, Scurra, we also have another competition, 250 Rand in terms of gaming vouchers of your choice. It is a mystery question that we're going to ask to our viewers who have been paying the most attention. We'll ask that at the end of game number 5. For right now, we're going to catch our breath, grab a drink of water, and get ourselves ready because game number 3 awaits. Welcome everybody back to the Absa Gaming Festival featuring Fortnite, and we are here and ready for game number 3. This is where essentially that big match temperament comes up, and I'm joined by the big man himself, Mr. Scurra. How are you feeling?
Okay. Can we just say my headache is gone? All right, I'm good. The headache is subsided, so we're good. We're good for now. Whoever passed me that grandpa, thank you. Blessings. But yeah, honestly, to be serious now, I am really, really excited for this. I mean, match number 1 and match number 2 have really shown us what we are going to be seeing coming out from this event, and it's just been such a hyped up event. I mean, when you look at the prize pool, for those of you who are still who just popped in, these players are playing for 20,000 rand. First place will be taking 10,000 rand. Second place will be taking 5,000 rand. Third place will be taking 2,000 rand. Fourth place 1,000 rand. Fifth to eighth will all be sharing a lovely 500 rand amongst themselves. So there's a lot to play for, and again, it has just shown today the mindset of all of these players, how slow the gameplay has been, how methodical, how tactical it's been from every single player today. I really love to see all of this. I love to see how these players have really just tried to be a lot more smart with how they've been playing today and coming in with their different game plans.
Different game plans. Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier on how those game plans essentially need to evolve, right? I mean, we've gone into essentially setting the tone. We said setting the stage a couple of times as well, but now it's all about game number 3. This is going to be a fulcrum point, a big changer for a lot of these teams, and I believe from our side of things that we're getting the hoot of the battle bus that is ready to take off. And game number 3 for a lot of these squads across the board is going to be pivotal to deciding whether they make it or not into essentially game number 4 with a full-on sacrificial style with their gameplay, or whether they need to play cool, calm, and collected for positional placement. Either way, you can see the spread in terms of the battle bus of going from that southwesterly to a northeasterly location, which sets the tone for where we go here today. And if Slim Shady is going to give us anything, hopefully they can provide a little bit of a spectacle going into the early start, but it does look like they're going to be on the far edge of the map.
Yeah, it seems like they are going to be possibly landing, of course, by John Wick's house and possibly getting some loot there. And doesn't look like an ideal place, but I mean, we can never question where these guys land, because obviously I feel that, you know, they understand that this is the best position for them. But we do see some early kills coming out very, very early.
I'm laughing because I believe our outstanding players from game number 2 in terms of being able to bring the lobby to a unanimous celebration when the rest of everybody except for Flash and E-Take essentially got those kills. Now Nitro becomes the very first player eliminated from the lobby. Maybe a little bit of sweet justice coming in there as Chimp picks himself up in elimination.
Guys, are you not thankful? Come on, guys. Let us be thankful at least that we had them take out our lobby leaders. And I see again the Cav getting a kill on Penny, and the Cav Chip, you guys are breaking my heart right now. But it's fine, you know, that's just how it happens. But again, I see they possibly might have landed Collider, and if they did that, then honestly I wouldn't blame them, because we do understand that the Cav and Chimp did claim the spot, right? They did say 100%. If you come here, come at your own risk, because you know shots are going to be flying, and don't be crying when they do hit you. So already we're seeing a few players are going to be dropping very, very early, but again, nothing we haven't been seeing very often in this event so far. But again, it's still going to be that slow-paced gameplay that we've been seeing throughout the day. I love to see that consistency coming out from the team of Chimp and the Cav, still maintaining that drop here by Collider. And you see, this is what I mean, is just having so many of these coolers, these drop boxes all over this POI is really what makes it such an amazing place to drop by.
It's a huge space to be able to drop by, and I think one of the things that we've wanted to see is the team that is on screen right now, and they go outside of Command Cavern, which has been known to be one of the big drops in the map, essentially considering that the Zeppelin is side of that environment. It's currently where Neymar as well as Boja are hunting down. And I mean, from your side, where do you think the best rotations are here towards the side? I mean, you got the Fortress, you've got Shifty Shafts from this point. But do you think it's more just about consolidating your position here, or do you think that this is a high point of being able to rotate to try find some kills early on? Because remember, Bojo and Neymar struggled for game number 1.
You know what? Hey, I don't even feel they need to make a rotation. In actual fact, the rotation actually is coming to them. People want to rotate to this place. People understand what is at stake when it comes to command cabin, and we already see some players just outside this POI. We have a Cobra as well as some heartbeat sound. They understand the type of loot that is at this place. So honestly, in the defense of Neymar and Bojo, they don't even need to make a rotation. They have the perfect spot. All they need to do is just hold down the fortress.
Hold down the fortress is the call out. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is game number 3. We play a total of 5 games in the grand finals of the Absa Gaming Festival Fortnite duo competition. 20,000 Rand in cash up for grabs. If you want to find out more, head over to acgl.co.za/Absa. And if you want to be a part of more action in terms of tournaments, make sure that you head over to ACGL, and we'll be able to take care of you from that side. For right now, the players taking care of action. It is a little bit of an early shake-em, if you want to be able to call it that, in terms of the amount of eliminations on the board. Usually, I've been trying to keep track of this as we go towards around about second circle rotation. We sit around about 30, 32 teams. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how many we have in this game number 3, because this is also at a point where teams start to get a little bit more desperate.
Yeah, and you mentioned it earlier that this is the more pivotal game for a lot of these teams, and I think there was a saying that I actually came up with one of the other casters, is that game 3 is sort of like the climax game, right? So this is match number 3, the middle ground. This is where the tides start to turn of the entire event itself, right? So you've had match number 1, match number 2. That's sort of like the feeling out process. Everyone feels at the lobby. How is this game going to be? How do we play this out? How are teams going to approach this? And now that you understand that you've had 2 full games to understand how things are going to be played out, this is now where you get to understand, okay, now match number 3, we understand what's going on. We get the assignment. This is how we play, or this is the approach, or how we're going to finish out this event. And now this is, again, maybe where teams maybe start to get desperate, but not necessarily. This is more where they start to realize and pick up on their mistakes from game number 1 and 2, and they try to rectify that. Because again, match number 3, 4, 5, you still can make it into that top spot. It is not fully over. But again, it's just those small adjustments that they need to be making.
I'm just checking this out at the moment. Neymar currently has a player behind him, but Bojo has spotted a team fight where it does look like he's almost third-partying into it. I'm not too sure. He spots out a player's couple down low. The scan got called out a little bit early on. I don't know what information he has from his side. I almost got excited. I thought that was an opposition player. But it was just Neymar. Just Neymar poking his head around the corner saying, hey, I'm a Tomb Raider too. And it does look like they're about to essentially do their tomb raiding of the command cabin. As we can see, there's currently 3 teams inside of this environment.
Yeah, it is going to be quite interesting to see how this does play out. But before I go on to that, just a little bit off topic. I don't know if you guys noticed, but you see, the one thing, it's such a small thing, right, is that these players have the same skin on, right? And to the normal eye, it's like, okay, cool, they have the same skin on, right? Fine. But in a competitive scenario, you need to put it into this context. Before I go on to that, now the fight is going to ensue. And now that's going to be the first drop, and it comes from Bojo. Bojo getting the knock on one of the players now. And it's going to be now Xylox who needs to clutch it out against Bojo and Neymar. But now Xylox is going to just claim that height now and not try to possibly push this one, as his teammate is going to drop down and just going to be left to a 2v1. And unfortunately, that is just unfortunate. And he's going to get bumped up.
Calm down. Love that. I love the way Bojo as well as Neymar played that, right? They went in, they got the wall control, they managed to get the elimination there, the knockdown, then they built back up. The other player hadn't any kind of wall control, so was just sitting there with a shotgun waiting for the action. Neymar and Bojo, they don't just, you know what, caution to the wind. They say, you know what, no, that's fine. We've got control over this environment. So what we're going to do is just heal up slightly, and then we'll re-engage and make sure that they guarantee that second kill. Cool, calm, collected from a team that we know can challenge for that title.
You know, and this is why we mention them so much. This is why we put so much prestige on their name, is that they're just such a good team. They play so well together. They have so much experience in the community, in this competitive environment. But it's just not a thing of they just run and gun. They don't just full send it, right? They actually have a plan. They're tactical about what they do. They have at least an idea or plan. They map it out, and again, those split-second decisions that they make is really what won them that fight. And that's really what I love to see. Just amazing gameplay coming out from these guys. And now we are going to see another fight ensue. Now we have Ace and Glubs who are going to be pushing up against the team now. They are going to be now fighting in zone, but zone isn't going to be taking for that much help. And now Glubs is going to take... Can't be taking those party breaks when Glubs is on your tail.
Oh my goodness, yeah, absolutely. You're not able to run into that spot. And listen, from that side of things, just found himself between a rock and a shotgun, essentially. And at that point, AC and Glubs, a team that we were mentioning that is got quite a bit of work to do, because I don't think that they made it too far into the final circles just yet. But as you can see from the map outline, there's a big pink outline, and those are the players currently getting caught in the storm. They've got quite a distance to be able to rotate. And it does look like all of our action is going to find itself towards that command cavern where Neymar as well as Bojo are setting up. So expect a lot of potential kills, but also a lot of potential vulnerability for them.
Yeah, no, and I like that the zone is now a lot more centralized. And what I've really enjoyed today is we haven't had a repeat of zones like we've had before in some of the qualifiers. We've had a lot more, you know, it's been around, right? And we've had different terrains, different scenarios where these players have to play this out. And now we're at least more even ground, where players aren't really disadvantaged as to where they're going to be playing. So I'm really excited that we're having these types of zones happening, because again, it plays for a lot more diversity in play styles coming out from players, because you're not just going to get accustomed to one area or one terrain. Because I mean, if you understand it's going to be by Coney Crossroads already, and you always understand, okay, this is how we can play, you know, it's just going to be the same repetitive game style. But now with the different zones that are coming out now, it's a lot more different plays that are coming out from these players. But now it seems we're switching over to Habibi and Abby, who are here by the fortress, and seems that they have it locked down so far. No one near them, so they are looking good.
Looking good, sitting pretty at this point in time. You can see a lot of heavy rotations. A couple of players on screen a little bit earlier using those siege cannons just to try get around a little bit further across the board. Now we are on board with a team that's doing pretty well at this point in time. To my heartbeat sound as well as Cobra, I think they're sitting in a top 10 position. And at the moment, sitting with 2 eliminations in the back pocket as the Storm Eye starts to shrink once again. And it is all about just trying to hold your positions. They're trying to get those long shots from range. And you pointed out a little bit earlier just how dangerous the striker burst rifle can be at range. And when you just feel that knock at the door constantly, you have to use your resources from both sides of that spectrum. Or at least from their side of things, they decide, you know what, they're going to pull off of that gunfight. They kind of play it relatively safe, but a little bit more of a shift in terms of the circle, as we do see things moving as westward as this map possibly can go. But it does look like we're on board with VIP, who finds himself in a close race situation. Ooh, tries to get a shotgun shell out, not going to be able to connect with too much. And Aussie also sitting on board, trying to rotate on top of their opposition. And it will get pegged here from range.
Yeah, this is going to be a rough fight. They just need to make that rotation out, because unfortunately they just weren't able to close out that fight, and it didn't seem like it was going their way. So I really love to see that rotation coming out from them. But it seems that Hyena is just going to get some shots that are going to be taken towards him, but the team is not going to make that rotation towards them, and they're just going to possibly just reset. But it seems like they're going back for round 2. No, I'm not too sure if that is the play, but it doesn't seem so, and they're just gonna reset themselves and just set themselves up in zone. And that's the best thing you can do, right? Is especially if you've rotated away from a fight in this type of lobby, you don't want to try to go back for round 2, because you never know who's peeking. Look at that. You never know who's peeking. You never know who's going to be taking that shot towards you. So it's never the best idea if you've rotated away to just try and go for round 2, and seeing that they just possibly just reset themselves in that box is just the best decision for them now. And now we are sitting here with Chimp and the Cav. They both have 1 kill each, looking very healthy with regards to the resources they have to work with.
Yeah, very healthy with resources. One of the interesting things is that Hunter Bolt action from their side of things. Perhaps utilizing that as a little bit of an opportunity just to be able to scout out players' positions, because I'm not seeing too many knocks from that side of things. AC as well as Glubs, shame. These guys are stuck in a storm at the moment, and if they leave, they're stuck in a storm between AC and Glubs, which is never a position that you want to be in, especially with Glubs with 3 eliminations in the back pocket. as it does look like they're going to find themselves in a little bit of a fight here any second now. I'm not too sure who they're going up against, but shots will be connected there from the opposition, and it is going to be AC trying to push in close here and tries to mantle up, but almost thankfully not being able to be grab hold of that wall, because that would have put him in a little bit of a precarious position.
And now we see AC is going to make that push towards height now. Is going to claim that height and possibly is also get to rain some shots down onto this player. Is going to be able to pop that chug splashes. But now we are seeing a lot more aggressive gameplay coming out from Glubs and Ace as well, as they do understand that this is possibly a fight that they are able to clutch out. And they're just possibly going to try and see if they are able to claim a kill or two. And it seems that they're possibly just trying to make up for those for that match number 1 and 2, as they haven't done too great. Seeing that, you know, with the potential they have as a team and as players, but, you know, coming out from match number 3, they're doing a whole lot better, seeing Glove sitting on those 3 kills.
3 kills indeed, but can they make it more? It's going to be Ethan as well as Sukomi that decide just to hold the fort at this point in time. Does look like they'll drop down low, just trying to be able to gather a little bit more resources in terms of the wood department. Glubs and AC say, you know what, let's just step away. We need to play for positional placement at this point in time. They'll still keep an eye on their opposition at range, but it's going to be Habibi as well as Abby that have a little bit of work to do here as they sit in on middle island and in a little bit of a precarious position just on the outside of the circle, but maybe feeling safe for now. But look who might be rotating, Controller as well as Sobzi.
Oh yeah, now it's really going to be quite an interesting zone now as well. Seeing that we do have a lot more water over this zone, but again, you know, I love to see this diversity in the zones that we have, because now again it just challenges the players into playing different play styles, adapting to the environment, and that's something that I do feel these players are really good at, is adapting to the scenario of the game, or adapting to, you know, the situation that they've been able to be put in. I mean, that's why we look at these guys as pros, because they're able to do these type of things, you know, adapting to the types of zones that they have to play in, or having to play over a water zone. But again, we'll have to see how this does play out. To switch over here to the team of Jamie and Niklo. Believe it or not, those are brothers. So I love to see the brothers coming in and, you know, competing together. It's a beautiful sight to see. And we do see some great strategies coming out. As you're seeing that they are going to just migrate a lot of the excess resources that were down below up top to them where they are based up. So that is actually a beautiful strategy coming out from the team of Niklo and Jamie.
Love to see it. I didn't even know that they were siblings. Really cool. Does that mean every day is LAN day? Is that how that works there at the household?
No, pretty much. I think so. Hey, you know, I'm pretty sure they have to be landing at this point. If not, hey guys, I'm going to be questioning a lot of things that side. But yeah, so actually going back to the whole idea of the skins, right? So when you look at it, you know, some of these players, they have similar skins, and to the normal eye, it's just a normal thing. But when you think of it in a competitive scenario, right? Think of you shouting to your teammate, "I hit 100" on one of the players, or on one of the, or maybe on the Peely skin, right? But there's two Peely skins. How do you properly gauge that, you know, this is the actual player that I hit 100 on, right? So it becomes a lot of a mindset type of thing where it kind of plays on the mind of one of the players, because to them they thought, oh, this player I thought was 100 or maybe 50 HP left. But, you know, obviously it's a different scenario. So that's also something that I really enjoy to see coming out from these players, is adapting these types of things into their gameplay, where it's sort of a mind game thing where a lot of these players play. And it's really such a cool sight to see.
Yeah, and Epic Gaming, or Epic Games rather, must love it as well, because, I mean, you're always going to be selling 2 skins at that point in time if you're playing with a duo. They're like, cool, let's host more duos and trios opportunities, because we're just going to sell more skins from that side of things.
You know what? It's free real estate.
Yeah, free real estate, pretty much. At this point in time, we are moving in towards our 4th zone, and it does look like the circle is going to be able to land in quite an intriguing spot, but once again, not too much water coverage, but there is that if it starts to rotate out of zone when it comes down to our 5th circle. So it could be very interesting in terms of how these players deploy in different environments. E-Take now does take down Controller, and it's going to be Jamie SYL that finishes up the kill, as Goliath Rejects will be able to pick up one of his own with Travis on that side. So we still got some very big names left in this round number 3.
Oh, this is really a sight I love to see now. We're down to 37 players and 20 teams left in this zone number 4. And you- I don't even know what to say. I really don't know what to say because I really love to see how it's been so much more stacked compared to the qualifiers, right? And now we've seen with all of these players up close and personal, it really has brought out a lot of, a different side to a lot of these players, right? And we've seen some amazing players come out from some of these players already. And I feel like we're going to see a whole lot more coming in. And now, as Zone 5 is pulling in, we are going to be seeing it pulling a lot more southwest, if I believe.
Yep.
Or more to the,
Westerly.
to the west side.
Injured.
Westerly
To the west side we go.
West side we go.
There we go. So right now it does make its way towards that end. It does look like the Goliath team's already center circle, feeling pretty comfortable as it's going to be Ace and Glubs. I'm not too sure. They're also on that side with Storm Zestros. Man, this is getting really stacked. I mean, the names that we seem to cross over, it doesn't look like any of the very well-known teams have been eliminated too early on. Sorry, Nitro, that I said that. I feel like I'm leaving you out at this point in time. You came up with some big kills early on, man. But further from that, Rejix does pick himself up another kill and another elimination on the board for the Goliath duo. A team that is not going to relent. They're not going to slow down. And if anything, they're feeling good. At the moment, is that Genie picking himself up a double as well?
Ooh, that is going to be Ace who's going to be dropped down, and now it's going to be left to Glubs again. And this is the problem that they've had, is that it's just these little moments where they have to make those rotations into zone. They get separated, and one of them gets down, and it's just left to one of them to clutch it out for the team. And I felt that they possibly had worked around this problem, or they might have worked around trying to at least get each other into that late zone. But again, just unfortunate that Ace got caught out, and unfortunately now it is just left to Glubs to possibly just get that placement point or possibly get the win for his team. We're going to have to see how this does play out. But now we switch over to the team of Chili and Savage.
Well, I'm just keeping an eye on that circle as it moves a little bit closer towards Command Cavern. It will not need to cross a river for most. However, those on the westerly side of the current circle will need to cross that river. A little bit of work to do. A team that is actually on that job at the moment is going to be Pringle. Nyclo on the other side of things, a little bit closer towards the next rotation. You can already see height is going to be something that is going to be very, very heavily contested. However, on the low side, Nyclo as well as Jamie are getting ready for when the movement starts to happen. And this is something that, I mean, you don't want to rotate too early. You really want to be able to move with circle because that's when people are paying less attention to you. And for those that do get the early rotations, it's a good opportunity to pick up some quick kills.
Definitely, and now we are going to be seeing that storm surge warning coming in as a lot of these players are going to make that rotation in. So it's not going to be definite. We'll just have to see if the storm surge is going to be activated. But now switch over to Vibes, who is going to be engaging with the player down below. And now we switch over to Goliath, Travis, and Rejects as they're making their rotation into zone and going to set themselves up good in this box now. And I love to see now that they are able to at least go into that late zone together, because we have been seeing times where it's just been Travis who has to just get those placement points for the team, and he has been doing extremely well for them. But again, we have to be able to witness them as a duo, and that's what we're going to be able to see now. And now we're going to have that launch pad pop down, and they're going to make that rotation into this moving zone now. And now we are down to 22 players, and Rejects is going to get beamed and drop down. Unfortunately, now I think Mr. Nick is a bit mad with me. He doesn't want to talk to me. But we now switch over to Chimp and Decav. And Decav is going to be on height now with a Chimp. Chimp just going to be topping up, set themselves up good in the zone, and this at least going to base up as that zone is moving in. Now we are down to the last 21 players and 12 teams left.
12 teams left. Sorry, you lost me to a little bit of a frog foot jumping around there on the connectivity side of things. But for right now, it is going to be Storm Zestros trying to work his way in. Doesn't manage to get the height that he wanted, so he's going to have to build up a little bit higher here. Team Badat now working close by. Storm Zestros walks into a bunch of fire that he didn't want to and finds himself now eliminated as Nyclo picks up that kill. Down to the top 20 players. It's going to be Ethan going on the long side. This is a great positional play for them. I mean, from their side, haven't really been showing out too much, but now is a huge opportunity for them to come up with that W. But look where this rotation is happening. It's happening on the southern side, getting quite close towards that Camp Cuddle Dam space. And this is going to be very, very precarious for some, especially if you're running low on mats.
Yeah, now this is going to be a really, really rough rotation for a lot of these players. Now it is going from the top of the side mountain.
Over river.
And now we're going over the river now as well. And now that it's going to be pulling towards the Camp Cuddle side. And now we switch over to your father, who doesn't have any materials whatsoever to work with. The same with Vibes. And Vibes is going to take some shots. It's going to go down. Your father is just going to be left. He's going to try to utilize the tactical sprint to just try and get away. Unfortunately, isn't far enough. And Savage and Chili just going to finish the team of Chili and just finish the team of Vibes, I believe. Sorry. And now we have Chili, who's going to make that rotation into zone now. Going to take some massive damage off the zone. And they are able to make that rotation in and are going to set themselves up, are possibly going to just make that refresh now, and they are going to get a knock as well, and that is going to be Ethan. Who's going to drop down, and Savage claims another kill. That is going to be 9 kills on the board for the team of Savage and Chili.
Huge amount of kills in their back pocket. It's going to be a massive game for them, but a team that has been performing so well from their side of things has been Jamie as well as Nyclo, who's currently sitting on 4 eliminations from both of those players. And as they try to make their way, the next circle's going to rock its way in. We're going to number 9 at this point in time, and it does look like they're going to have to hold the fort. Jamie's been able to pick himself up an elimination just outside of the court thanks to a couple of late bullets. However, his teammate is currently down. Nyclo in a position needing to be able to recover. As I'm not too sure if he'll be able to do exactly that, as Nyclo does eventually fall down. Solos, Decav still very much in this one with Chimp. This is a huge game for them on height.
Oh, this is a massive game now. They haven't had the best games coming into these late zones, but now they are full stack going into this late zone. Now we are down to the last 5 players and 4 teams left, and that's going to be another kill coming in from Decav now. And now there's left to a 2. Is it? I think it's a 2v2 or 2v1. Oh, this is going to be...
He picks up the kill.
Down by Tim. Tim is going to get the refresh now. He's going to be jumped down by the storm. And now it's going to be left to Chimp to clutch it out against Tim. It is going to be a 1v1. Chimp is going to claim that height. He does have those floppers to get his health back up, but it's going to be a 1v1 versus Tim and Chimp. Who is going to claim this one? Tim is going to claim the height. Chimp is going to mantle up. He's not going to be able to get the shots, but now he's going to try and shoot back up as Tim is going to drop all the way down. He's on 1 HP. He cannot get any shots. Okay, he cannot be touched by the zone. Chimp does not know that.
Chimp takes damage.
Off of him. Chimp is down to 20 HP. No way! Tim!
How did he do it?
Out on 1 HP!
With 1 HP in the back pocket, Tim, but Dad comes out on top. He shows us the emote. He shows us the love. The clutch of the day, ladies and gentlemen. With 6 eliminations in the back pocket, Chimp standing out with the fastest elim, longest elim going over to Ethan on that side of things. Wow, what a performance though from Timber Dad. 1 HP, Scurra. I'm at a loss for words.
What? No. Someone needs to explain this. Please, can we just... I'm trying to understand, right? He was on the bottom ground. He somehow made it to height on 1 HP. Still was able to clutch it out. But like, he didn't heal. Not once did he heal in that fight against... Yes, okay, he was healing, coming out of the zone, used all his floppers, used all his shields. He had nothing to his name, and still was able to clutch it out.
Dude, he was in a 1v2 situation with a full 2-stack team, and still somehow managed to win that one-on-one gunfight, turn it around, have no heals to work with, getting that knock. 1 HP hero is I don't know. I don't know how he did it. He was like dancing up against the edge of the storms from the backside. Huge plays. Scurra, I'm at a loss for words, but Timber Dad, take a bow. Huge coming from you. Game number 3. We asked, was it gonna subside? Was the pace gonna increase? My goodness, things have just gone absolutely huge in game number 3. But game number 4 is gonna await us. I want to catch my breath, but guys, I also want to let you guys know that you have an opportunity to win. We've been saying that throughout the day. There's, of course, the Xbox One Series S and more. You've got an Xbox One wireless controller. You've got the Game Pass. Type in !giveaway. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, Scurra. I'm reeling from what we just saw. Timber Dad has come up with the clutch of the day, the play of the day. I'm not too sure if we're going to be able to see anybody beating that.
How do you top that? Like, how exactly do you top that, right? From match number 1, okay, it was fine, you know. Match number 2, we saw the crazy plays coming off from Travis, who survived on that 20 HP with little to no meds at all. right? And now we see this, a 1 HP clutch against a dominant team that almost they just walked through a qualifier, right, with 37 kills to their name. And now they come to do this in the, like, how do you do this? How do you do this against Chip and the Cap? Like, I don't understand. And again, Tem, a part of the team of Storm and Tem, right? Yeah. These are players that I believe were also going to show up today, right? They also did fairly well in the qualifiers.
Yeah, you called it.
Qualifier. And here is what we're seeing coming up from Tem. Beautiful gameplay. Like, where exactly do you go from this, right? We have match number 4, match number 5, but how exactly do you top the moment?
Well, the path ahead is blurry, right? The path behind us has been full of like chaotic brilliance. It has been some moments, we've had some ups and downs, some unexpected moments as well. But Tempedat has definitely set the scene for what we can expect for game number 4. If there's going to be a player or a team that we're going to be able to keep an eye out for, it's definitely them. But for right now, ladies and gentlemen, let us figure out what we've just seen as well. Let us catch a little bit of a breather. You guys can watch the highlights. We'll be back with game number 4 in just a second. Hey there, all you lovely people. Welcome back here to game number 4 of the Absa Gaming Festival featuring Fortnite. Unfortunately, I've got a very tired, very exhausted because of just what happened in game number 3. Mr. Scurra, how are you feeling, my dude? Wow.
You know what? Some people might be coming into this stream right now and see, maybe these guys aren't as upbeat as they usually should for casters. But I mean, coming up after last game, we have our winners, Storm and Tem.
Wow,
So,
dude. Wow.
From the normal, round winners, cool, yeah, fine, right? They won match number 3, but the context of how they won that match, when you understand how they actually won that match, it's like, what? Like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around what we witnessed. Like, how do you try to justify that? Explain that in a story. It's unreal.
Knowing that you lost to a person as well, I'm not too sure. I'd have to double check who came second place, but that your opposition was literally, if there's ever been a terminology of one shot, that is as far as one shot. It's like literally one breath, one touch, one do anything. Just make sure you hit. But somehow, despite being the most ultimate one shot, still came out on top. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're still reeling from game number 3. We're getting ready for game number 4. If you're wondering how many games we're playing, 5. 5 is the call out. So this is going to be our second last game of the day. And what are they competing for? 20,000 Rand in cash, of course, courtesy of Absa Gaming. We are making bank here today because that's what Absa Gaming do for the gaming community in South Africa. So not necessarily we, but more the Fortnite community are making bank. 10,000 Rand in cash up for grabs, as well as 5,000, I believe, in second place. And then when it comes down to the giveaway, ladies and gentlemen, you can get your hands on some amazing gear as well as giveaways. Note that the giveaway, it will be essentially announced on Monday, I believe, of who's won that. But we also have another secret giveaway, if you will. Something that Scurra and myself have been hatching up ever so slightly from our side of things. That if you answer the mystery question, if you've been paying attention to the stream as well, that is going to be vitally important. The very first person to be able to comment with the correct answer in chat will win the 250 Rand in gaming vouchers for their back pocket for them to be able to utilize for whatever platform that you want to utilize. It does look like we're going to get a slight repeat in terms of the bus trajectory, but I'm pretty sure that the storms are going to be a little bit different.
Yeah, it's as I've mentioned before, we've had a lot more different zones today, and nothing has been the same. Everything has been also slightly different. Not slightly, but entirely different, actually. So I really love to see that happening, and we still have seen the same trajectory, as you mentioned, with the battle bus, but again, still don't feel we might get the same zone. But we switch over here to AV Dan with his teammate, and they do land over here by Daily Bugle. So they're just going to possibly hold down the fort here and just going to try to get some shots off of a player that is possibly just gliding a bit late. And you just try to do that at least. Try to get some picks off of a play. If you're lucky, works out. But again, if you do get that damage, it does play out in the long run for when that Storm Surge is possibly activated towards the late zone.
So I'm just doing a little bit of a count here just in terms of points. So in first place currently, Aventix, and I believe that's Dan and Smeg, sitting in that number 1 position. Goliath, Fortnite in second place. We got Pete Pomp, essentially the farmers. Remember the good old farmers of old? They're currently sitting in third place with Step Bros, which that might actually be Storm Zestros as well as, let me double check. No, that's actually Nyclo as well as Jamie. And then in fifth place, we have Chimp and Decav. Currently, WRG, Storm, and Zestros from their side of things, or Tim from their side, is in 6th position. And it's all relatively close in terms of the point department, so still so much of a game here to play for. And one team that we want to see a little bit more from, rising up. They're currently, I believe, I'd have to double check. They're not necessarily, they're 24th. That's Neymar as well as Boja.
Ooh, and again, they did miss out on that game number 1, which does put them at the disadvantage because we do have these other teams like, teams of WRG, teams of Goliath, team of Avientix, and they've had this opportunity to at least start racking up those early points, but now we switch over to a player who is going to get some massive shots on them, and she's just possibly going to make that rotation away because, yeah, it is not looking good. It is quite looking dire, but is able to make that rotation and just possibly going to try and reset with the heals in hand. Does have the 6 minis, the big pot, so looking good.
And using those knee slides quite effectively. Something maybe Fortnite might have borrowed from Apex. We're not judging. From our side. All right, so in the low grounds of Shifty Shaft, we're talking about a little bit of nightmare scenarios at the moment in the underground, and it does look like we'll face some shots in from behind, just trying to run and not necessarily gun. It just kind of wish there was a train to be able to jump on as Jamie picks up a kill. And this duo of Jamie as well as Nyclo, I believe, currently sitting in around about 4th position.
Yeah, they're really starting to do well for themselves. And as solo players, we understand the capabilities of Nyclo and Jamie. Nyclo, I mean, in the past, in so many Mythic events, has just done phenomenally well. As well as Jamie in some of our other events as well. They do so well together. Well, not together, but as solos. But now together as a team. Haven't seen them play too much as a team. But the way they're playing now, they're really playing good and starting to set themselves up good. But Smile Dog... Beautiful gameplay coming up from Smile Dog, and is going to claim that kill in the play, and that is going to be his 2nd kill of the game. Tayson has fallen early, but Smile Dog is able to clutch it out, and I believe he was taken out early by the team that Smile Dog just finished off. So that is great plays coming out from him.
Went out early with those eliminations. So important just to be able to get some points on the board. It's just outside of the Rev vehicle, so I'm not too sure, or Res vehicle rather. For right now, we change our course a little bit towards Spooky as well as Know You Mate. Does look like they're going to face a heavily contested gunfight, and it does look like the knock will come down. I believe that is Rakic from his side of things going to be able to pick up that kill.
Yeah, and that's going to be Rakic just cleaning up the kill on HPK. And Rakic and Reepsy team we haven't seen too much of today. Haven't really seen them show up too much. But again, it's one of those days where it's just not your day, or maybe you're having an unfortunate game. They have been falling out pretty early, or one of them will fall down and it's just left to the other one to clutch it out for the duo. But we'll have to see how they do play it out. They are able to claim that early kill, so they're looking good, looking healthy. Just need to get that mat count up. But they are looking fairly decently well, just outside tilted. So not too bad for the beginning of the game. But they have a lot of work to do, a lot to catch up on if they're trying to make it into that top spot. We do see Reepsy running that Gold Striker Burst Assault Rifle, one of his favorite guns to be running. So love to see that consistency coming out from him.
Consistency is going to be key, especially going into game number 4 for those that are in those top placement positions. This is where you're going to be able to test yourself and see, do you have what it takes to be able to still keep that level of play? For right now, we zoom out and have a little bit of a look. Things were on the west side last time. I know we had a little bit of a laugh about it. This time, heading towards the east side. As it does look like Boja's actually going to be heavily punctured up here. And we'll find themselves in a situation needing to probably use a couple of minis, maybe some splashes as well, as Neymar is going to be able to pick up a kill.
Massive gameplay coming out from them, and it's great that they're able to at least clutch out that situation. And now at least able to just reset themselves, get their shields back up, get their material count back up as well. So at least love that they're able to just clutch it out and do well for themselves, because as you mentioned, we want to see more coming out from this duo, because we do expect a lot from them. They are a good team. They are one that, can show up in the situation. But oh my god, look at this. Chimp and the Cav there by Collider, right?
Yeah.
Shifty Shafts is Nyclo and Jamie, and just look at this triangle right now with Neymar and Bojo. Like, if these teams run into each other, this would just be chaos. But seems nothing of that sort will be happening for now. So it's just going to be a lot more quieter than we expect.
All right, quiet indeed. For right now, Chimp is going to be able to pick himself up some good utility in terms of some health. On the other side, I was taking a look at Bojo as well as Neymar's loadouts. It does look like they've got a Mythic Stinger to be able to use between themselves, so a decent amount of damage should they find themselves in those close-range gunfights, and something that they'll definitely even utilize when it comes down to bursting through cover. So the stage has been set, man. I mean, I can't wait to see what happens, but for right now, we go to Sanctuary, where it's all going down currently. It's going to be Grand 4840. That's got a little bit of work to do here with his team, Green Pieces.
Yeah, it seems like they are going to be engaging in a fight at the moment now, and his teammate is going to be graying down, so he's just going to be left to Green, who's going to have to clutch this out for his team now. Is going to be looking extremely healthy on his HP and shield, is going to have that 100 build that he is able to work with, but just going to make that rotation into the bush just to possibly res his teammate, get him back up. But oh my goodness, just looking at that 10-second counter in this situation is just so devastating to be looking at. And there's a player who was in the bush now, and Grand is just gonna have to now push back up to height to maybe contest this player. The player is going to just box up and just possibly just try to get that shield back up because he was tagged, and Grand is also gonna get tagged on himself now. Going to be dropped down to 142 HP. Does have that big pot that he can pop to get him to 100, but now is going to be stuck in this box as he is going to be extremely focused by this team at the moment, but is going to just set himself up in this box, try to get that big pot, but isn't going to be able to, as this teammate is going to be pushing back in. Unfortunately, is going to get some picks off of him now, dropped all the way down to 85 HP.
No. Shame. It just felt like he got caught whichever way he stuck out his head. There were shotgun pellets or SMG or just anything heading in his direction. Unfortunately for him, will get taken out. But Pringle has been quite consistent in terms of landing quite a few kills across the board. Sobzi and Controller currently sitting outside of the lobby, waiting to try get back in some way, shape or form. But Sobzi with a little bit of work to do outside Sanctuary once again. We are definitely heading towards the east side on this map as things are looking a bit desperate for some teams, whereas others a little bit more comfortable.
As you mentioned that, now we switch over to Tem and Testrars, who are now in a fight. And it doesn't look too good as now Tem is going to jump down.
Whoa.
That's going to be Storm. What?
I'm shook right now. They've both been taken down on those rotations. It's Twitch Eviva as well as their teammate Weefloof. I'm Weefloof. I'm not even too sure myself. These are new players in their own right in terms of being able to stand up and essentially contest some of these teams. 2 and 2 eliminations and coming up against essentially our winners. This just shows you, right, that to be honest, when it comes down to the series, who can make a prediction? Who? At this point in time, nobody can get anything right from a prediction side because it really does filter every single which way in every single one of the games that we're playing.
Like, just to give you a perspective, right? We've had 4 matches today. Well, this is our 4th one right now, by the way. For the past 3 matches, we haven't had a back-to-back winner whatsoever.
Not one.
The winners that have won each match have fell out very early. So how exactly can you make that prediction? When every which way there is just such a twist and turn in the story that is being told here. And now we switch over here to Weefloof, who is going to be taking a pick at a player. Twitcher Viva as well is going to get tagged down very low. And that is going to be a trade kill. And that is going to be Twitcher Viva who is able to clutch that out.
Yeah, gets the knockdown on Aviva, but they do come out with a kill. So a good position for them to find themselves fighting back in here. At the moment, we jump on board with Xylo as well as AV Day. And currently just sitting outside Daily Bugle. Looking a little bit worried, it seems, checking corners, but doesn't seem like that there is any need for caution just yet.
Yeah, no, at this point, I think you don't really need to be too worried at this point in time, right? Because this has still been the more slower side of things. Yes, there can be fights here and there, but Smile Dog, taste it. Quick question, guys. Do you understand that you're in zone, right? And it's pretty far. It's pretty far. And it is still closing in. So they need to make that rotation as soon as possible because it is not looking good. I mean, I'll be surprised if they survive this. But you know what? If you survive this, right, I'll believe in you guys to win this match, okay? I believe you guys will win this match. So you better make that rotation. And now we're switching over to Sobzi as well as Controller.
That is not an easy rotation to make, and at that point in time, they're just sitting down. You know what? Let's just try and get as much meds in as possible. It's too late for that strategy, guys. I mean, let's get those rotations in. Hopefully, we'll be able to see them in the rest of the game. For right now, Controller and Sobzi find themselves in a little bit of a build-off, a little bit of a one-on-one fight in a lot of ways. At the moment, there's going to be some shots being put in from Sobzi from the side, and that is going to be an elimination as AC goes down. Glubs, however, gets a shot down on Sobzi. Glubs, the last remaining member on his team, still very much alive from his side as AC is going to get the revive coming in and will thank his teammate for every second that he remains in the game.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful gameplay. And this is actually what I want to start seeing more from Ace and Gloves because, again, they've been that team where it's either Ace that's left alive or it's either Gloves that's left alive. And I want to be able to see both of them in that late zone because I still feel like we haven't seen their full potential as a team because as I mentioned, they did play second in one of their qualifiers that they played in. So I want to see more coming out from that team, as well as we want to see more coming out from these other teams as well that aren't doing too well. But now switch over to Nyclo as well as Jamie, who are in zone. And guys, can we stop staying in zone? Can we stop doing this rotation? and 30... Oh my goodness, and R20 is just going to get dropped in zone, and that is going to be another kill on the board for the team of Jamie and Nyclo as they make the rotation into zone.
And that rotation through the north side is a very difficult one. Those scattered islands don't make it easy on anybody. And now from the opposite end, those that are feeling a little bit more safe, not surrounded by the ocean, not surrounded by water, but Glubsy as well as AC, once again, they're going for pushes, they're going for eliminations here, and they're not going to slow down by any means. They even have a little bit of either one, a miscommunication in terms of their skin synergy, or they're playing it very, very brave.
Yeah, I know. At this point in time, it seems like they're really just full sending this. But at this point in time, I wouldn't be surprised for that. You know, sometimes you need to throw caution to the wind. You just need a little bit of risk in these scenarios. And it seems like that's what they're going for. And they're trying to go for those kills. And it is sort of making up for the lost games that they've had where one of their teammates or one of each has fallen out. So I feel that this is sort of a strategy to try and make up for those lost games. But again, is very dangerous, but we'll just have to see how it is going to be played out. Now we switch over to HPK, who is going to be downed yet again, and is now left to Spooky. Now Spooky player does get through the builds, and Spooky is going to drop all the way down, and he is going to be on that 120 HP. Does have the heals to get himself back up to optimum HP, but is just going to have to make that rotation to just make himself at least just get some breathing room. But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case, as he's going to get pushed and he's going to get beamed. And that's going to be rejects.
Yeah. It's the Goliath duo themselves that are going to be fighting for eliminations on the board at the moment. Managed to pick up one apiece there, but they need to turn those two pieces into more, hopefully, from their side. As it does look like from their end, they're not necessarily sitting in a bad position, but they are currently sitting in second place. And I don't think that that's good enough for them, right? They want to fight for that number one position. They want to be on top here today, and they're in a fantastic position to be able to do so. But it's all about this. What is going to come down to our final circles of game number 4, and then we still got a whole other game to play. So still a lot to play for all of these teams across the board. A team that we haven't seen too much of, Smile Dog as well as Tayson from their side. They're currently rotating in from that northwesterly position, and not looking too great in terms of resources as well as weapons in the back pocket. I mean, Tayson only has, I believe, that Stinger SMG in hand, and that's not really too great. Now managed to be able to pick up a pump at least.
Now we switch over here to Punisher Zurakic, and he does spot out a player, and at least he is now with Reapsy. So, you know, this is what I love to see from the players now, is they started to make these adjustments, and they started to at least see what were the issues that they've had in the previous games, right? As we zoom in, we do see...
Who's that? Who's that around the corner? Is that a man in a bush?
Hey, you see over there? See, psst, hey, look at that.
They're hiding.
But, you know, we do switch over to them, and now you see these adjustments that are being made is at least allowed for them to survive until this point in time. They are able to at least stick together as a duo, which I've seen has been a problem for some of these players, where one of them would drop out really early, and it's just made it really, really hard for them to clutch it out towards the end. But now we see some adjustments have been made, and now we see some of these players now have their teammates in hand.
So now from, the rest of them, it's going to be a little bit of a tricky situation to be in. I mean, we're down to top 20 teams inside of game number 4. And there we go. An elimination will get picked up by Pake as well as Genie. They've been relatively there or thereabouts, sitting in the halfway side of the leaderboard towards top side, being able to pick up a couple of kills. We saw Genie with like a double or a triple in one of the previous games as well, but now Nay as well as Bojo, they're sitting in a position where they want to hunt and they want to be able to pick up some kills and some eliminations. They know that they are a team that can take it all the way. But what they really need right now, seeing as this is game number 4, back-to-backs they need to be able to come out on top.
Yeah, that's simply put that way, especially if they want to claim that top spot. They need that back-to-back, and it's not going to be an easy feat. And we've seen that. We've seen why it's not going to be easy. No team that has won has actually survived longer than top 50. So for them to actually try to do a back-to-back, it's going to take a lot. It is really going to take a lot, but we'll have to see how they are able to play this out. But yeah, a lot of adjustments need to be made if they want to try and gun it for that top spot.
All right, so now it is going to be heading towards a 5th circle, and this is where that intensity, the heartbeat starts pounding. At the moment, it's going to be Glubs and AC that basically walk their way forward, currently sitting on 5 eliminations. They're looking good. They're looking like they're ready to be able to test their opposition here. And despite we called about a little bit earlier in terms of the skin differential between the two, they're still showing that as a team, doesn't matter what skin they have, doesn't matter what they're rocking, they can still come out solid with a couple of eliminations. But this is the most important end of this competition, is that as we see the next circle making its way all the way towards the western side, it means that all these players need to move. There's only a couple of them actually sitting inside of circle at this point in time.
Yeah, and it's a word I love using very often, especially in these types of scenarios. But these players now are getting up and close. They're getting really, really comfy with each other. Now you got to get used to your neighbors around, because some of them might get aggressive. So when those shots fly, you need to prepare yourself. And we're almost close to that next moving zone. And now it's going to be 10 seconds until we start that moving zone. And this is where the chaos starts to ensue. This is where the rotations and action starts to happen now. We are 1 second away from the first moving zone in this match number 4 now. We see the rotation coming up from the Goliath boys, who are going to be making that rotation into that zone now. Rejects is going to get tagged up 40, but not something he needs to worry about too much. Is going to be able to pop that shield pot, as he has 6 shields pots. So they're looking very good, very healthy with regards to the heals and materials they have.
And still a couple of splashes in the back pocket as well. On the other side of things, also looking relatively healthy with that Mythic Burst rifle in hand is going to be Reepsy as well as Rakic. Currently sitting on the top side of cover. They're looking pretty decent. I mean, even in terms of resource department and in the mat side of things. Abby, however, will find himself getting taken down there. And now your father is going to be able to pick up one. Big Boss will be able to pick up one. Storm Surge is what we're going to be questioning. We are down to the top 17 teams. Will that activate at one point in time? AC from the other end, and Pringle also. Wow, we have quite a stacked last few circles.
Yeah, and I just realized Pringle is actually Crispy. So Crispy has been doing fairly well today. He has been extremely consistent with the kills that he has been claiming today. Because I mean, I believe every game he's been claiming kills, and it's been either very early or very late. But I just love to see how he's been playing extremely well coming out today. Seems that they're just going to try and pressure this team that is across from them, just to maybe get some picks off of them in case, you know, we do have the possibility of that Storm Surge.
Yeah.
But now we're going to be moving into our next moving zone, zone number 6, and this one is taking very heavy and moves a lot faster. So these players really need to get them sketches on and start making a rotation now. And Cost is going to get some shots picked off from him from behind. It's going to be dropped all the way to 40 HP. Needs to make that rotation into zone, as he is going to be dropped extremely low. Oh my goodness. Dropped all the way to 14 HP. He is going to be fortunate enough to make that rotation into zone, but is extremely low. Needs to just utilize that mid mist. Won't be enough to get him to that full HP, but will at least be at up to standard. And now we switch over to AV Deimos, who's making that rotation into the zone. And looking very good as well. They don't have any kills to their name, Xylo and Deimos, but they're looking good with the heals that they have as well as the material count. So yeah, it is really unfolding now.
Looking at the top left, Neymar managed to take down Reepsy, and I believe Chimp was also eliminated along that way, but I'm not too sure exactly by who. Deimos managed to pick up a kill up against Coast, which was the player currently kind of just working off of, to be honest, scraps in the last seconds. Decav picks up one on Nightclo. Nightclo is down. That is huge. Especially for the rest of the lobby at this point in time. Glubs is going to be able to come out with a trade of his own. Travis now on the top side as he manages to rotate his way around. Still has his teammate Rejects in hand, and that is a duo that I would be trying to stay as far away from as possible. But the circle is going to force them closer and closer together. We are down to the top 14 teams. We are down to the 7th Storm Surge, and now it is, the 7th circle. And we've got Bojo being able to take down E-Take. Chubbs is going to be able to take down Bojo. So that is Flash being able to pick up that kill. Neymar takes down Chubbs. Bojo takes down E-Take. It is all being traded, but the team that we asked and questioned, can they come up with the back-to-back wins? Neymar as well as Bojo, they're still very much in this one.
Yeah, no, this is a really closely contested one. There's been such amazing gameplay coming out from these players. I just saw Decav is getting taken down by Ginger, and now we switch over to Gloves and Ace as they get a kill now. Ace is just possibly going to get his shield back up, and Gloves is going to make a rotation up to height now as he just gets a pick off of the player that is on height, going to possibly edit down to maybe try and get some picks off of the player.
Travis is down.
Oh, Travis is down.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is going to be massive coming out from these players as they are second at the moment. So now them falling out is making a possibility for a lot of other teams now.
10 teams.
Down below. There's 10 teams in the zone.
This is ridiculous. Rejects also down now, so the Goliath duo have fallen down. Glubs was able to pick up a kill. It does look like Bojo fell down early on. I'm not too sure if Neymar's still very much in this one. We're going to have to wait and see. It's Ace, Glubs, and we've got, I believe, Neymar just got eliminated, I believe. So from that side of things, we are down to the final few. And it is 7 teams, 10 players. That all that remains. We've got Pringle on top side with Ginger sitting in a very comfortable position. However, the mats fall down and Ginger gets caught off guard. He's now separated from his teammate at this point in time. Pringle is there to try follow up. Ginger's there to try clean up the kill. But it does look like he gets turned on. And at that point of time, it's going to be Twitch and Neva that comes up with a kill that was so detrimental to Tem as well as Storm Zeros early on. We have got 3 teams left. It's going to be Glubs as well as AC. That is Flash as well as AC on the top side. They managed to come out on top for game number 1. Will they be able to do that in game number 4? We'll have to wait and see. As we are down to top 3 teams, it is going to be 2 solos taking on the duo of Glubs and AC.
You know, we left with Chili, who is the solo that is going to be left alone to clutch it out for his team. And that is going to be a kill on Chili. Now it's going to be a 2v1 as we have Gloves and Ace who are on height now. Gloves is just going to possibly fountain down to maybe get some picks off of the player who is down below. Is going to get some picks off of the player. And that is going to be Gloves and Ace who claim match number 4.
So that is Flash in Glubs, but look at the amount of eliminations in their back pocket. 11 in total. Those last few circles played massively into their favor. Having a little bit of a look at the overview, we managed to finish things off before the 25-minute mark, but Chili with the fastest elimination. Glubs, aka Flash, with 9 elims in the back pocket, and Goliath Travis with the longest distance on the clock. Ooh, game number 4. Wow, we are right there or thereabouts to deciding who is going to be able to get that cash prize money in the back pocket. But game number 4 is such an indicator of how strong these teams are towards those final circles. We saw big names. We almost had, because we can't be on every angle at every single situation. We just watching the feed. We're seeing some of the big names fall out slowly but surely. And now coming into it, it's Flash as well as E-Tech from their side with another big win here.
You know, this is really what I mentioned is I wanted to see this gameplay coming out from Ace and Glubs, right? The Team 47. I knew that this is the potential they had, right? They had these issues where they were falling out really early. It would be one of them left in that late zone. But I told you, I just wanted to see, right? If they have 2 people left, right? What would they be able to do? 11 kills they managed to rack up, as well as a victory. It's just massive coming out from them. And honestly, I can't even tell. I can't even call who is going to win this, right? We thought one way, this is who it's going to be. We thought another way, we thought this is who it's going to be. But just game after game, it's really proved that we don't know who it is going to be.
Yeah, and I think if anything for now, game number 5 sets itself up as that exclamation mark at the end of the series, right? It is the moment that we have been waiting for to see who is going to be the team that comes out on top. And I can't wait, but also I don't want it to end. It sounds a bit strange. This has been such a cool series to be able to cast from our side. Having so much fun seeing the differential in terms of skill levels across the board. If anything, it sets a tone for the South African gaming community from a Fortnite perspective, is that we've got so many talented players out there, and I can't really speak to exactly how high of a level that we have here, because some of it is past my describability in terms of a caster from my end, is that these skills that these players are showing just shows the amount of hours, amount of time, amount of thought, and those high IQ players are exactly that. I know we get to throw around that term, oh, it's 200 IQ. It really is. You have to be smart inside of these situations. You really have to think about the bigger picture of how you're rotating. And a big shout out to the players themselves for putting on the show here today. You really have. Game number 4 has been very, very cool, and I can't wait for game number 5.
Yeah, we are really, really excited. But before we go to the break, ladies and gentlemen, let me just mention that we do have some things for you guys to win. Not only the players, but you yourself can stand a chance to win something. We are giving away an Xbox Series S, as well as various other products that we will be giving away, as well as a wireless controller and some Game Pass vouchers. So all you need to do is just put in chat !giveaway.
Yeah.
Follow all the instructions that are needed to get yourself into those giveaways.
Well, Scaro, we're talking about mental fortitude, how that is going to play into game number 5. I'll just admit to something. I made a little bit of an error from my side of things. I was calling Chubbs, Chubbs on that last circle. It was Glubs as well as Ace that came out on top. So just noting that from my side of things. My mental fortitude, game number 4, is falling off drastically. But understandably so, because, I mean, we've been faced with so much action non-stop from these teams. And one thing that we're going to do is gotta grab a little bit of relief from our side of things just to be able to get some water, get some essentially oxygen back in our lungs, because wow, it has been an intense 4 games. Game number 5 is about to kick off. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you stay tuned, because we're about to find out who is the winners of the Absa Gaming Festival featuring Fortnite. Hey there, all you lovely people. Welcome back here to the Absa Gaming Festival featuring Fortnite, where we are getting ourselves ready. When I say we, well, of course, I'm joined by the delightful gent himself. Scurra, how are you feeling as we go into game number 5?
You know, I mentioned it, right? I mentioned it in the beginning that I was excited for this because I felt today was just going to be such an amazing day, that we had amazing action in store for us. And we've all bear witness to what has happened from match number 1 all the way to match number 4. I can't even put it in words, right? When you try to describe something, sometimes you try to think, how exactly can I put this into words? How exactly can I describe the feeling that I'm feeling right now, right? That's my situation now. I can't even explain how excited I am for match number 5, right? Looking at how close these games have been, the fact that we haven't even had a back-to-back winner yet, it's just amazing. I'm just so excited and I've been so hyped from the get-go.
From the get-go, these teams have been providing us with some fantastic action, and understandably so. They've got a massive carrot, or should I say a massive bank vault to raid, with the prize pool from Absa. 10,000 Rand for first place, second place 5,000 Rand, third place 2,000, fourth place 1,000, fifth to eighth, each getting themselves 500 bucks in the back pocket. Now, these teams are facing a situation right now where I'm pretty sure that they've got their gameplay loading. They might be on their mobile device. They're checking out the website right now and trying to figure out, okay, how many points do I have? How many points do I need to get? What do I need to achieve to be able to, at least if I'm outside of the top 8, to force my way in, or if they're on the top of the board, just to be able to essentially wrap themselves in a little bit more of a security blanket, right? So this is where that mental strain is going to take place, is that if you're outside of that top 8, or maybe you're inside the top 8 and you just want that number 1 position, are you going to be hunting for kills? Are you going to be playing for position? What are you going to be doing?
You know, it's, as you mentioned, right? Now is the time where everyone's refreshing their iPad, their Mac, or whatever they're on, right? You're refreshing, you're trying to understand, okay, we have 100 points, we have 90 points, we have 50 points, right? How many points do we need to get into said position, XYZ position, right? And that's where you start to think about what gameplay or what game style are we going to come out with in game number 5. Because we can't generally judge that on their behalf, right? We only can say, you know, maybe play it cool, play it calm and collected. We can't really say that for all of the teams because it is extremely close. These standings are really, really close. And some of these players either need to push for kills, placements, or either both. Yeah.
And I think it's a beautiful kind of scene to be able to get yourself set for. It's like you've got all these different teams, and they're probably going through this conversation together and saying, this is what we need to do. This is what, and all those different conversations. I wish there was some way kind of just to be able to put that all into one screen and just see from each one of these respective POVs are going, okay, we're going to push right. We're going to do this. We're going to break it down. But for right now, what we will get to see is how this action unfolds. And it all starts with the battle bus dropping down. At the moment, it's going to be Nitro that falls down quite quickly, quite early, remaining consistent on that side of things, where Penny, his teammate, will unfortunately fall down too. So no crazy, essentially, outlines from them this time around. We are down to 32 teams as they will be eliminated again as the 33rd. However, on the opposite side, let's set the scene, right? So, our number 1 team currently on the leaderboard with 163 points, with no wins in the back pocket, as far as I can see from my side. Aniva and Toasty sitting with 31 eliminations. Huge plays from them.
Like
sitting in, go ahead.
No, it's just, it baffles me, like the fact that they haven't won a game, right? But they're first. Just goes to show how you don't even have to be winning this to actually top the leaderboard, right? You don't even have to top the charts to actually like make it to the top. They haven't won a game, yet they're still sitting at the top spot. It's just the gameplay and the consistency of getting those high kills and placements has really done them well.
Yeah, and I think from that side of things, they're also quite grateful that there hasn't been another team that has picked up 2 Ws throughout the series. We know that when you win, the points differential becomes quite big quite quickly, and that kind of speaks to how highly contested this is. Then from the other side, in second place currently, sitting with 154 points, it's Aventix. and that is Dan as well as Smeg, sitting with 154 points. So only 9 points is what separates them from the top spot. Just behind them, trailing, hanging on with every single ounce and tooth and nail that they can, is the Goliath Gaming duo. They don't necessarily weigh up when it comes down to total eliminations just yet. They're sitting with 19, very close to our second place with 20, but OO, our first place team, sitting with 31 eliminations. So Goliath are going to need to win here, and they're going to need some kills as well in the back pocket. Following fourth, Pete Pump from their side with 126 points, Vibes and Dabs with 114, and then Step Bros with 113. And I've got to say, even Chimps and Decav are quite close behind with 110. Then 1 point is what separates Team 47. It's so closely contested in this top 8 that it's going to take me way too long just to read all of these names across the board. So for right now, you need to know OO's on top, Aventix in second place, Goliath in third, and to be honest, anybody can take it across the board at this point in time. Game number 5, let us go.
Let us go indeed. I am so excited for this. Just the way, just reading out the points, the point differential. It's I'm so excited for this because we can't tell who's going to win this. You know, usually at some point, sometimes in these scenarios where you're just able to say, okay, cool, this team is taking it, right? Let them win or let them come even second, third, or fourth. They got this match, right? But we can't even say that with this. We can't even call who's going to win this because it's just been so close in the beginning, from the beginning to until this point.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much been the theme, is that everybody has been so closely contested. But now, going into this game number 5, we are down to the top 30 teams. 3 teams eliminated so far. Nothing has changed too much as far as the narrative goes. However, the circle decides, you know what? We've been in a summery landscape throughout this series. It does look like we're going to be going towards the northwest, which is a little bit more cooler contested. But at this point in time, Reepsy as well as Rakic going to be able to pick up 1 elimination apiece, as they're currently on screen, highlighted as Fartleberry as well as Raxa.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful stuff coming up from them. But yeah, it's a really unfortunate. Didn't really see too much coming out from them today. From the side of Reepsy and Luca, do believe that they can do a whole lot well. But again, they were a team that formed sort of not really last minute, but a bit late into this competition, and just haven't seen enough out from them today. But again, it just happens. Sometimes it's not your day, sometimes it's someone else's day. But still, for them being able to show up until this point and still give it their all, I really, really love to see that coming out from them.
All right, so Xena as well as Dinah, another duo that we haven't seen too much of from that side of things. Does look like they're going to be dancing outside the canyons with another duo that is just across the way. So a little bit of a Mexican standoff, if you will, as they try to spot out their oppositions. So one of the things I did check out in the top left-hand corner in terms of just some eliminations being picked up, I believe from that side of things, not too much movement from Reepsy as well as Fartleberry, but Decav being able to pick up an elimination from his side.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even really disappointed in a way to say from what has come from Jimp and Decav. It's just today has just been that closely contested, right?
Yeah.
You haven't been able to see anyone just completely demolish or run through the lobby. It has just been so close, and that's just how it is, right? When you come to these grand final scenarios, you can't always expect one-sided affair. You can't expect it to be one team running through the lobby or farming the lobby. It's just a thing of it's that closely contested. There's a lot to ride for, and everyone just has a whole different mentality coming into the grand final. So even though they are sitting in that 7th position, I feel that they have tried their best. They have done well for themselves, especially on the side of Chimp as well, just recently coming back into this competitive environment and seeing what he's been doing. It's I'm really excited to see what could possibly come from him in the future as well.
Yeah, and another duo that is essentially, I mean, they've been playing well. It's Ginja as well as Pringle. They've been playing well, but we just haven't seen them really pop off, falter towards those last circles. But the duo that has it all to do currently on screen is going to be Bojo as well as Neymar. And I think that might be even Ginja and Co. that they're trying to push. But Bojo's on the low ground at the moment, trying to work his way forward. Do you think that they need to have that little bit of a W key mentality in this game?
You know, especially when I look onto the leaderboard, right? They're sitting currently at 18th position. They have 14 kills. At this point, that's the only thing that could work for them, right? Yes, they could get those placement points. What's cool, that would work out for them. But at this point in time, that's just not going to work, right? You can't count or bank on the idea that the guys at the top are not going to get those placements. They're not going to get those high kill games, because it will happen. Those guys will try to secure that position for themselves because they understand that it's not sealed, it's not fortified, that they will stay at the top. So coming out from the side of Bojo and Neymar, they have to just throw caution to the wind and just pull a rabbit out of the hat and just try to see what can come out of this game by either trying to just W key, get as much kills as possible. Otherwise, they might possibly have to just settle to just try and get into that top 8. But at the moment, with them sitting at that 18th position, it is not looking good.
Ooh, look at that. Tempedat actually getting taken down. Our Game 3 winners. Your father managed to pick up the elimination there, so that's a very interesting situation for Tempedat as well as Storm Zestros. They were there or thereabout, right, from their side. I mean, they're 12th position. They have 12 eliminations and a win, so sitting on 98 points. So this could have been a huge game for them. So it might be on Storm Zestros' shoulders if he isn't eliminated at this point in time, because his teammate currently sitting out. We're just going to have to wait and see. For right now, Decav as well as Chimp. Unfortunately, a Chimp has fallen. Decav is going to have to rise up to try come up with the eliminations needed. Doesn't look like that there's any players really respectively within the region that he needs to worry about too much, as he's going to sit pretty just farming up some resources. On the opposite side, Dan as well as his teammate, I believe that is Smeg. Currently our team that is sitting pretty close to top in second place with 154 points.
And now, you say, as you mentioned that, right, this is now where they need to make this game count. Yes, they've done well for themselves throughout the series, but this is still where it counts. It has come down to the final match. It has come down to this point where it's still not decided. Your spot is still not determined. So even though they are sitting at that second position, they have the chance to make it to that top spot, because as we understand, they're only 9 points behind Owo, who are at the top. So they still have to make the best out of this match to possibly try and clinch that top spot. But we switch over here to 200 ping Pigeon, who is going to get tagged, but nothing too much to worry about as he's making the rotation.
Fly, Pigeon, fly at this point in time, needing to get away as Slim Shady has been taken out. And that means that Pigeon has nobody that is going to be rapping in his ear for the rest of the game. So for right now, we take a look at the map overview, and we have a little bit of a look at Psycho Kama as well as Ethan. Ethan's going to be able to come up with the revive.
This is a really interesting sight to see.
Yeah.
It's like, it really looks like a roach that just got sprayed with dew. Like, oh my goodness, that was quite an interesting sight to see. But Psycho is going to be able to get popped back up by Ethan, and now they are able to reset. But it is not going to be a quite easy reset, as now they're going to get pushed back onto, as Ethan is just trying to hold off the person that is outside their build. Psycho is able to get himself back up to that 100 shield. So they are going to be looking good, but it is actually the team of Rakic as well as Reepsy who are around them. So this is going to be a really interesting fight that does play out between these two teams. Also, no, it's Bojo and Neymar who are actually near them. So this is actually, again, a determining factor for this team, as they do need these kills. They need the placements, especially if they're trying to get into that podium position, that top 8. So, again, they're still sitting on those 0 kills, and now Punishes Bojo is going to take some damage onto himself. Is going to be dropped to 120 shield, 120 HP, to be exact, sorry. And again, they have the height, and now Neymar as well, going to be tagged down again to that 120 HP, and they need to be able to close this fight out, because they expending so much materials and resources on this fight, right? And you don't want to be doing this so early in the game.
All right, Neymar dropping down and into the minefield, it seems, as he's going to be able to face huge gunfire at this point in time. Neymar in a position that we don't get to see him in too much. Bojo gets taken down. And that is Neymar that gets left as a spectator, as Ethan is able to pick up the kill up against Bojo. This hasn't been their series, right? I mean, this hasn't been the performance that we expect from this duo. Currently sitting outside of Storm, slowly ticking away on the health side of things, and Neymar just trying to essentially recover from this positional play. Ethan still trying to hunt him down. There are two players also waiting outside the storm. Neymar taken down, and it's Psychomic that comes up with a kill.
Psycho with a massive
Ooh.
kill onto Neymar, and it seems Remo and Cost do spot out the fight that did happen, and they are able to possibly try and hold Psycho as well as Ethan, who are in zone at the moment. But it seems that they're just going to possibly just make that rotation away and towards zone, which is just a better play because you don't want to be getting caught out at this point in time with going into this next zone, zone number 2. You don't want to be getting caught out. And now we switch over to Alreezy. Alreezy gonna get dropped, and now it's left to Jazzy. Jazzy Alreezy. Love the rhymes, but can do that back in the lobby, unfortunately. That is the big game for today.
Yeah, they're left there with Slim Shady just to bust some rhymes. It's going to be quite a musical lobby, that one. But for right now, on the other side of things, AC and Glubs, they managed to at least come out, I believe, in our game number 4, the last game. But right now, the positional placement is going to be absolutely key for them as they try to make their way up these hills, utilizing the siege cannon yet again, as they're going to pin themselves ever closer. At this point in time, Glubs finds himself sliding down lower and lower. The gunfire from either side is a bit of a concern, but nothing to worry about too much for the veteran duo in themselves. At the moment, 23 teams is all that remains, and it does look like AC and Glubs are trying to push for this gunfight.
It's beautiful plays coming out from them, and now they're going to be pushing up to this player now, going to possibly try and reclaim the wall that is that has contained the player in this box now. AC going to be on high to maybe just try get an angle on the player that is down below. Glubs is going to be just making a rotation away now, as he does see, it's just not the fight that you want to be taking. If you're not able to clutch it out or you're not able to finish it out, just rather rotate out. And we do see Ace as well is going to pop that launch pad just to make that rotation to his teammate. And that again has been a problem where they have been separated a bit too much, but hasn't been a problem at this point in time. They are able to make that rotation into zone.
All right, so as they make their way towards zone, it is sitting in a relatively precarious position here as we find ourselves on the northeastern side, just outside Command Cavern, sitting over the frozen river and the Logjam Lamberyard Dam. So right now, I don't know, man. This is where it all starts to build off. I mean, Twitch and Neva as well as Wolfenhof managing to pick up kills and eliminations yet again. Just the one in the back pocket, so a little bit slower than what we've seen from them previously. But definitely the duo that is currently on top that we need to keep an eye out on.
Yeah, definitely, and they have been playing extremely well. They have been they've had a lot of amazing games. They've placed consistently high in all of the games that they've played. They haven't had a win, as you've mentioned, but that consistent gameplay, the consistent placements of getting that top 5, getting that top 3 is what has led to their success at the moment. And now closing off into the final stages of this last game, they're gonna have to now keep that same consistency that they've kept. And oh my goodness, Chili's just gonna get absolutely beamed. And now he's just gonna at least have Savage, who is gonna be able to clean up for him. But Deimos is not gonna let that happen. Deimos is just gonna be pushing up to this player now to possibly just try to get the confirmation on that kill. I believe he is able to get the player up and going to pop down that fortified wall. But Xylo is going to be pushing in, and now he's going to get some knocks, and he is going to tag Savage, and he is going to clean it up. Beautiful gameplay coming out from the team of Xylo and Deimos.
Yeah, and on the left-hand side of things, it does look like Reefsy also managed to pick himself up a kill, but gotta love that play, the push after getting the knock. They didn't give them an opportunity to try raise. They thought that the players were locked into the top side, managed to take down that middle plate, but it doesn't look like they were hiding there. A little bit of hide and seek, and doesn't look like Deimos, from his side of things, is shy when it comes down to playing that game. For right now, it does look like Rejects is rotating solo at this point in time. Ooh, that's a difficult one. Did he load in solo?
Oh, no. I think he may have loaded in solo. Oh, that is going to be a real dagger to the heart of the team of Goliath.
Yeah.
If they are not able to clutch this out, this is going to be quite a tough situation. And now Travis was actually put into this situation a lot more times, but that was only because I believe Rejects would have dropped early due to some unfortunate scenarios. But now Rejects being alone in this entire situation, especially in game 5, the game that is essentially the decider for this series, is going to be quite a tough one for the team of Goliath. But we're going to have to see if Rejects is able to clutch it out. And now we are here with your father as well as Vibes, who are sitting on height, are comfortable with the mat count that they do have, are sitting with the 12 splashes as well as the 6 minis, so looking very healthy with regards to the heals that they have to work with, so not too bad on their side. And we are closing into the next zone, and they are going to be on the mountainside. And it is going to be quite an not unfortunate, but rather an uncomfortable scenario for a lot of these players to play out. But we're going to have to see how they do end up playing this out in match number 5 of our Absa Gaming Festival Fortnite.
So, just a note to everybody as well, seeing as this is game number 5, after this, when it comes down to results, we need to make sure that they are audited, checked, and verified. So we won't necessarily have a guaranteed winner directly after the tournament in terms of who's won today. However, who knows what is going to transpire here for us in terms of what we're watching at this point in time. So we need to double check score submissions across the board. That being said, game number 5 is where essentially it will be decided of who is going to be coming out on top, because it is the most important of all of these games. Sitting at this precarious position is going to be AC as well as Glubs, who have really tried to play this one as slow as possible. The positional placement is absolutely huge from their side, and they know that they're in here with a shot. So, from the opposite side, your father came up with a massive kill a little bit earlier on with Vibes in compatriot of that. I believe they managed to take down the duo of Tembadat as well as Storm Zestros. I think that's right, or I could be overlapping here, but it does look like the circle makes its way out towards the outer rim of Log Jam. And it is going to be Remo that sees his teammate Coast getting knocked down, and that is Chimp that picks up the kill.
Yeah, that is going to be an unfortunate one, and that's just going to be their game for today. But now we switch over to Chimp and Decav, as it does see that they do spot out a team. Decav and Chimp are possibly going to try and break into the builds of this player that they are trying to chase down. And now we have Chimp, who is going to be claiming height on this player. Decav on the middle ground. See if the player is going to pop that launch pad and just doesn't want to have any of this. And I guess that is sort of the gameplay that for some of these teams and players want to be utilizing at this point. Is some of them want to play it safe, especially if you're in that top position. Yeah. If you have the kills, just play it safe. Try to play for that end zone. Try and play for that extra placement. And once you have secured it, then you can go all out, because you don't want to be risking it, especially at this point in time. Decav is going to get edited on, is going to get tagged, and now Chimp is going to go down, and Decav is going to go down. Oh my goodness, Crispy.
Pringle! What? He just comes out with a 2-piece. When they 2v1 him, he comes out on top and comes out with eliminations. That's huge. Meanwhile, in the background, I believe Smeg is also down from his side of things. So we might see a massive change up in terms of our leaderboard as well as outline as we head towards the final circles of this game. We are down to the top 13. That is 22 teams. So that's more than likely 11 teams and 2 solos. Make that 1 solo, as I believe 1 team just got eliminated. So now we are sitting in a situation. Chubbs as well as E-Take. So that's Flash and E-Take, not to be confused with Glubs, as I eloquently did previously. On the opposite side, it is going to be them sitting with 3 eliminations in the back pocket and sitting relatively comfortable, but looks like we're going all the way north in terms of rotations. And will these teams have the amount of resources that they need in order to make their way safely to the next side of this journey?
I guess time will tell, as now we are ticking down as we moving into our next zone, as zone 6 will be closing in, and we do have 22 players left, 13 teams left in this lobby. So now this is going to be the deciding match, as we do have Punisher's rankings that we did switch over to right now, and now the builds are going to come down, and a lot of players are going to take some fall damage, and oh my goodness!
Looking at that, picks up 2 kills, make that Reapsy as well as Rakic that will have a point to prove here. Rakic almost falling off completely off the map, but it does look like he's able to, or at least AC follows up on the kill on Chubbs on that side. We are down to the top 17 players here. Height control currently being picked up by Rakic as well as Reapsy.
And now we are going to be switching over to Punisher's Rakic, as he is on height. He's going to get a kill on AV Deimos. And that is going to be Deimos who's going to drop down. Oh, that is Dan. My bad. Sorry about that, chat. And now we're going to be switching over to the team of Pringle and Ginger, but Ginger is going to be dropped down, and we do have Crispy, who does have to clutch it out for his team, is sitting on those 5 kills, 6 in total for the team. We do have 15 players still left in this lobby as we're closing into zone number 7. Gloves as well as Ace sitting with no kills at the moment, and they have no heals whatsoever to be working with. Oh, but Ace is looking good with the shield that he does have to offer, sitting on those 13 builds left on the side of Gloves. We have only 8 teams left, 13 players to determine who is going to win the Absa Gaming Festival Fortnite Grand Finals.
Here we go.
Players are dropping left, right, and center. Ace has just dropped down in the kill feed. It is about to be pandemonium.
All right, so Aniva and Wolfenlof, they're definitely a team that might be favorites in here. I'm not too sure if Rejects is still alive or not. More than likely he's dead, but if he is alive, what a performance so far. Gotta say, as we are down to the top 7 teams at this point in time, it is getting a little bit edgy, especially considering that they are sitting outside of a cliff at this point. E-Take is going to be able to come up with a kill on Vibes. Wolfenlof, I believe that's Toasty, is going to be able to work his way in. Gets tagged up quite severely here. Not a lot of heals to be able to work with, as Aniva's down to the last bullets. Rejects is still alive. Rejects comes up with a kill. Rejects is doing the most here for his team at the moment. It is going to be Pringle that is all left alone, and he falls down the mountain. At this point, I am shook that Rejects is somehow still in this.
I am honestly at utter disbelief right now. We still have Punishers racking as well as Reepsy, the team that hasn't been doing too well. And racking is going to take massive fall damage. It is going to be left to Reepsy, who has to clutch it out for his team. There's going to be 3 teams left, 2v1v1. And now
he's still alive, isn't he?
He's still alive.
Is he still alive? He's somewhere here. As Cobra A is there, as it goes to my heart beat. No, he's fallen down. I can't seem to find him at this point in time. It is going to be Fartleberry, as well as I believe that is going to be Reepsy on the top side of things. He saw his teammate falling down. Now it's all about the hunt. Will he be able to come out on top? There are 3 teams that remain. Pringle has been sublime in the second half, but now it's all about the control of the shotgun. When are you going to be able to edit the wall? When are you going to be able to come out with the kill? Cobra A is on the top side. He feels like a spectator at this point in time. We are left down to the top 4, Scarra.
We are left with the top 4 players, 3 teams left, and now it is Cobra who's coming out to some shots on the player down below, and that is going to be Crispy, and that is going to be left to a 2v1. Cobra! And to a heartbeat sound, claim match number 5 of the Absa Gaming Festival Fortnite Grand Final.
There we go. Game number 5 gets picked up by Cobra as well as to my heartbeat sound. 8 eliminations in total. And it does look like from that side, they also managed to pick up the fastest elimination. Pringle, most eliminations, 9 in game number 5. What a performance. We end the clock just before the 25-minute mark yet again, and Purchase is Pake with that 206-meter kill. So what a performance there from the duo right at the last, being able to pick up a huge amount of eliminations, which will mean that I kind of feel bad for the admin. They've got to go through the scoreboard now with a fine-tooth nail, because I don't think it is clear over who's managed to come out on top, Scurra. And what an end it was. Rejects bursting through at the last moment. We almost assumed he was dead because we saw him left alone when I think we had around about 20 teams left. All alone, didn't have Travis to be able to work with, and somehow, out of nowhere, bursts up, and that might put Goliath Gaming in even a better position. We saw some big-name teams falling out early on. What's your thoughts there, Scar?
I mean, beautiful gameplay coming out from Rejects as well. We need to highlight that. The solo, who was stuck in such an uncomfortable and unfortunate position where he didn't have Travis by his side, and he was able to get into that top spot, got some kills as well to seal it for the team of Goliath, right? And now we also need to look at our lobby leaders, right? They also got dropped out before the team of Rejects got dropped out. So that also should come into play as, how is this really going to play out? Are they really going to secure that top spot still? But honestly, at this point in time, I feel it is heavily going to change, because there's just been so much action that came out. I mean, Pringle and Crispy coming out with 9 kills in that last one. That was just amazing stuff coming out from Crispy. He was just phenomenal, and it was just really unfortunate on the side of the Cav and Chim getting 2v1'd again. Oh my goodness, it's just unfortunate. That's just what happens.
Another thing, not one team managed to come up with 2 wins throughout this entire series, showing that if anything, there was a consistency in terms of inconsistency from some of these teams. And that's just purely due to the chaos, number one, but the high skill level of all of these players, relentless across the board. It's so difficult to try come up with multiple wins. And if anything, today is going to be a testament to that, is that how evenly contested it can be in the South African Fortnite scene. And that's what we love to see, right? I mean, in the past, we've seen consistent winners time and time again. Now we're seeing how the playing grounds have shifted, how people have been raised up to another level, and how, I know that there's a new season coming, how things are going to change as well. Now, one of the things, Skara, I do want to be able to point out is, of course, we've got a couple of interesting giveaways here today. While our admins are sorting things out, maybe we'll have a winner, maybe we'll have a preliminary winner, maybe we'll have a winner only once these guys have done a lot of maths. But our giveaway side of things, Skara, take them through it.
Alrighty. So, for those of you who are not aware as of yet, we are going to be giving away an Xbox Series S in chat, as well as various other prizes, along with wireless controller and Xbox Game Pass vouchers that are on the line for you as the viewers to claim as prize for you to go home with. Just remember to just put in !giveaway so that you can enter yourself into these giveaways and get yourself some lovely prizes. But yeah, honestly, there's a lot to win. And one more giveaway, one exciting giveaway that we have concocted amongst each other as the casters. I think you want to do the honor of this, Mr. Holden?
All right, so when it comes down to this giveaway, ladies and gentlemen, is that we have the mystery giveaway, and that's for all of you on stream at this point in time. We're going to ask you the question. You might need to go onto your scroll wheel on YouTube if you don't know what this is. But if you've been paying a lot of attention, then you'll be able to be the first. Remember, get your keyboards or hands on your keyboards, get ready, because the first person to give us the correct meterage, that is the amount of distance. So was it 150? Was it more than that? Was it less than that? Give us the exact amount of the longest kill of this series throughout the 5 games, and you're going to be able to win yourself 250 Rand in gaming vouchers of your choice. On your marks, get set, go. The first person to, I mean, you can try guess it, or you can just try go back in the stream, check out exactly when that came out on board. For right now, that is up to you. We'll keep monitoring chat. We'll keep an eye on things. We do have a little bit of a delay, so we might not be able to announce a winner straight away. But maybe before then, let's take a step back, Skara. I've got to talk about the series overall. We've gone through quite a lot over this period of time, right? We've had qualifiers week after week. We've had load shedding that try to stop us from gaming, right? But ultimately, it comes down to what is the message and what is the thing that we want to take going forward here from the Absa Gaming series. They came on board. They want to support the community. They want to be able to get involved. Why do you think it's so important with big name brands being able to get inside of the space, specifically even for Fortnite?
You know, it's stuff like this that is the stepping stone for a new generation of esports for South Africa locally, and not even South Africa, but Africa as a whole. I think we all understand that Africa isn't as recognized as it is, you know, internationally, but with big brands like this stepping into the space, even if it's just for Fortnite, right? This is the stepping stone. This is the starting point for a much bigger picture for esports as in general for us, right? It's having these types of brands getting involved, starting with these types of prize pools, 20K, which ultimately can turn into 30K, 40K, or even 50K at some point. And having this as an occasional thing, or having this as a normal or generic thing happening for us, just really starts to provide more growth for the scene and for the community. And we've seen that growth. We've seen all these new names starting to pop up in these tournaments or in these events that we've been having. And this is exactly the idea and sentiment behind these types of events. We're trying to reach more people. We're trying to reach a wider or much broader audience with these types of events. And I mean, having Absa, I mean, when you think about Absa, right? Absa, you see it everywhere. One of the biggest brands in Africa, really, or in the world. Having them being a part of this event is really just going to show how big esports can become.
Yeah, exactly that. I couldn't agree with you more. From that side of things, it's a huge opportunity. We hope that they've been enjoying everything. Guys, if you can, and if you've been a part of the series, please jump on Twitter. Just show them some love for being a part of the series, giving some more opportunities to our communities across the board. From our side, we're going to keep on pushing, but even further from that, a big shout out, of course, to the Rage Gaming team. I mean, from the offset, they've been here as a part of this, been setting up, getting it going. And I hope that all of you will get to see you at Rage, because that is going to be taking place in December too. So there's a lot more to look forward to, a lot more to be grateful for, but ultimately there's a lot more for us to find out in terms of who came out on top of this series. The Absa Gaming Festival, the very first of its kind for Fortnite. We're still doing a couple of calculations from our side of things. We're going to have to figure out who came out on top. And for those of you that entered the giveaway, by the way, just know that the winner is going to be announced on Monday. And we'll make sure that you guys keep your eyes peeled on our socials as well as Rage Gaming X's socials from that side of things to be able to announce who came home on top for the Absa Gaming Festival. Scurra.
Hold that thought. I think we have a winner.
Ooh.
For our little secret giveaway.
We do?
We do. I think we can just hear from our broadcast team before we...
We're getting in word. We've got a name. Ooh, Scurra, we have a winner. Woo. So tell them, what was the magic number, Scurra?
The magic number, the number that you needed to guess, was 275, which was killed by Ethan. And our winner for that is Lord Stacks. Lord Stacks, if you are in chat, make sure you DM ACGL or African Gaming on Twitter to claim your prize. Congratulations for getting the correct answer.
That's what you love to see. Congratulations, Lord Stacks. You've been paying attention, or you're just very, very, very quick at jumping back on that scroll wheel. That's why you've got to keep an eye on the streams, because you always have a chance to be able to win on our side of things. Ladies and gentlemen, another thing we will be keeping an eye, but just in terms of preliminary leaderboards at this point in time, we have in third place, I believe that's Mike Sticks as well as Cobra. That will need to be verified still. We've got Aviva as well as Toasty in second place with 163. And in first place at this point in time is Dan as well as Smeg, who actually took our game number 2 here today. They've been consistent throughout, so it's not necessarily a massive surprise if they do come out in first, but a big shout out. And if they do, once it's all audited and double checked, congratulations across to them.
Most definitely. But honestly, from my side, this has just been such an amazing event to cast over, from week number 1 all the way to week number 4, and now our grand final as well. There's just been so much action. From the offset, and we've had so much amazing stories leading up to this point, leading up to this grand final. Having our farmers and our little Pokemons going at each other in qualifying number 3. Having our stacked qualifier 4. It's just been such an amazing story to tell, and I've been so excited to cast over this. But I do have word from our production team that we do have our scores final, and I think Mr. Holden can take us through that one.
All right, so for right now, scores are final. We will wait if there are any kind of disputes or anything like that to double verify. It always happens where we need to double check VODs. We might need to check an outline. But for right now, our top 3 are, let me just make sure, we got word that it is final. I've got to hit the refresh button, of course. So in 4th place, Beat Pump with 1,000 Rand in the back pocket. From 5th to 8th, let me read those across in 5th to 8th order, each with essentially 500 bucks, is going to be Vibes and Daz, Aviva and Toasty, Flash and X-Take or E-Take, and the Punishers. And I believe the Punishers was going to be Reepsy as well as Luka Rakic. Now, the important side of things when it comes down to the top 3, those ending with 2,500 and 10,000 Rand respectively. Going into a 3rd place, we've got Cobra as well as Mixsticks with 2,000 Rand. In 2nd place, it's the team that we're keeping an eye out for. It's a team that might just feel a little bit heartbroken at times, not being able to have all of their players in that final lobby. But it is going to be Rejects and Travis who come out in 2nd place. And then in 1st place, with a resounding amount of 178 points. 1 win in the back pocket. Scurra, can you guess who that might be?
You know what? Just take me through it.
It's Dan, bro, as well as Smeg are your champions. 10,000 bucks richer. Congratulations to them. Feels good. Must be nice to get 10K just for playing some Fortnite. Love to see it. And I mean, by all means, Scarra, they performed so well and were so consistent throughout the series.
Oh, definitely. They deserved that win. They were extremely consistent with their gameplay today. I don't think they fell short in any match whatsoever. Every single game that they played was at least top 10, at least top 5.
Yeah.
So we can't even say, or we can't take anything away from them. Yes, we didn't have any back-to-back winners, but they clearly came out to play today. They were consistent. They had a game plan. They executed it. Ultimately got themselves 10,000 Rand in the bag.
And remember, ladies and gentlemen, you can also win yourself by just typing exclamation mark giveaway. But if you want to just be a part of the scene, that's where we try to take care of you from an online perspective at ACGL. Rage is coming soon, so make sure you're a part of that. Show Absa Gaming some love. Wave up your credit cards and get them ready to spend, especially to our top 2 winners from that side of things, being able to get some cash in the back pocket. But for right now, this is kind of where we end things. So, Scarra, any final words from your side?
Honestly, I don't think there's much to say from my side, but you know, well done to every single player that came out today. Everything that we witnessed today, you've mentioned this, Nick, it's no easy feat, right? These guys put in so many hours, so much effort and practice into this, into giving us these types of shows. And it's just, yeah, well done to all of you who played today, who came out on top. And whether you came first, whether you came last, you showed up today. You made the effort to, you know, drop into that lobby. You deserve a pat on the back. Honestly, yeah. GG to everyone.
And talking about pats on the back, Scarra, man, it has been such a pleasure to be able to cast with you. Always have a big blast and a big smile on my face throughout the series. I do want to give a couple of shout-outs myself. Of course, once again, Rage Gaming team, you guys, we know you behind the scenes. We absolutely love you. I know it's been a difficult 2 years over the COVID pandemic. We haven't been able to go to Rage. So make sure, guys, you're showing your support. We all want to get together again, right? We want to have some fun. So head over to Rage when you get the opportunity. Big shout-out to Absa, who's joined the scene. Show them some love across the board. And I've got to say, as always, the ACGL family, thank you for taking care of business behind the scenes. From our broadcast team all the way to the admin team, to our social team, to everybody in between. A big love to the ACGL fam. And then, of course, a big thank you to you, the streamer. Thank you for being a part of this competition. Thank you for supporting what we love to do on this side of things. You guys, a resounding thank you across the board, and I hope that you have all enjoyed the series. It's been an absolute pleasure from our side of things. Have an absolutely amazing weekend ahead. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Much love. Cheers.